Yeah. Hey, how you guys doing? Welcome. This is your host, Dedrick, the Cookie Man. Welcome again to Soul Flow Conversations. Um, and we want to make sure we open up these dialogues and everything for all of the trending topics, everything that we see in social media, everything that we see in the news, and most of all, between the sexes, men and women. We want to make sure we talk about this stuff in an honest way and in an adult way. We're not going to be arguing and everything. Sorry, guys, if y'all want to see a whole lot of drama. You're going to be seeing a whole lot of back and forth, different things like that. But we want to just make sure that we're talking about the things that we need to be talking about, guys. What we're doing, a topic medley. We're going to be discussing a few topics and stuff like that. And the first one I wanted to bring up was on TikTok. I posted this to the effect of it brought about quite a few comments and whatnot. But it was the notion that because you identify as something, that doesn't make you that something. There's a huge contingency of people who think this way, and I call it a mental illness. I really do. I call it a mental illness. Because number one, it's one of those things to where, I can't just wake up today and then call myself a panda bear. Because number one, I'm not going to automatically become a panda bear. In this case, we're talking about men waking up one day and be like, hey, I'm a woman. And then now you can participate in women's sports. You can do all of this stuff. And I'm just like, how that makes no sense. It's a mental illness, in my opinion. Now you can have your opinions about it, but it's not going to change the fact that you're still a man. Excuse me, a male, because a man isn't going to do that. It's just that simple. A man is just not going to do that. But my whole point is that when you sit there and you try to force feed people this stuff. See, I'm a person. I love everybody. Period. I don't care what your orientation is, what your preference is, and all that good stuff. I love everybody. As human beings, I love you. So let me make sure I get that very, very clear before some of you, as they have in the post, start saying, "Oh, you homophobic, or you transphobic, you this." First of all, learn what phobic means. Phobic is a fear of whatever that is. You understand? I don't have a fear of gay people. I don't have a fear of people who call themselves transsexuals and trans whatever it is. I don't have a fear of any of that at all. Okay, let's get that straight. Because number one, you're not going to act as if it's a real thing, because it's really not a real thing. Just because people are identifying in this culture, or excuse me, this society in this present day is sitting there saying, oh, well, this is acceptable. Cool, it can be acceptable. It's cool. It is, but you're not going to force feed me to not see what I see. So if you are someone who feels like you're a woman and you really are an actual biological male and you were born that way, I'm not going to change my stance on that. I'm not going to call her and stuff like that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not. Let's just be very, very clear about that. I'm not going to do that. If you want to be called Cheryl and you were born Samuel, you know what? Fine. Hey, Cheryl, but I'm not about to call you a she. You can name yourself whatever you want to name yourself. But my whole point is that it's it's just not even. It's not, it doesn't even make sense. If I see a man, that's what I see. I see a male. I don't see a female. Um, and a lot of the times, people is when you have a person who's that delusional, it makes no sense for you to argue with them, fuss and fight with them, and all that. I promise you, it doesn't make any sense. There's come a reason why Wink is the lie. That being said, you can't fight with someone who is convinced. There's a saying, all this other stuff, you can't do any of that stuff, right? So, so my whole point to saying all of that is that I don't really bother with trying to convince and fight and fuss with people when they have their own opinion, and they say opinion, and I mean what I say. It's an opinion, and whatnot. So it's you can't prove that you are now a woman if you're a man. You can't prove that you're now a man if you're a woman. That's not how that works. That's not how biology works. I remember when we were talking inside of the topic, we were talking about that people were saying, well, gender is this and this. I didn't say a word about gender. You can say, well, societal roles has been put on gender, blah, blah. Listen. We're not about to fuss and fight about that. Because number one, I did not say anything about gender. I said specifically, if you're a man, if you're a male, a biological male, you cannot wake up one day and then become a woman. That's not how that works, which is why it's baffling to me how people can't define what a woman is. They start with, well, if they identify as, or oh, time out. If they feel like, time out. I feel like, time out. It's not about what you feel like. It is about what the actual definition of a woman is. So if the actual definition of a woman is what you feel like, or what you identify as, or if they identify, first of all, I'm not about to be PC for the sake of keeping peace or serving somebody's feelings. That's not how that's going to work. I'm gonna tell you that right now. That's not how that's gonna work. Because the truth does not matter about your feelings. The truth does not matter about your feelings at all. And that's just the long and the short of it. Just you can, because now you start to comprehend every element. I'm saying, and if that's the fundamental truth, then you can't dispute it. I'm saying, and biologically, if you're born a male, the Senate can't become this topic because they want society to buy into their delusion. And I'm sorry, I'm just not going to do it. I'm just not. Just not going to happen. So, I'm sorry I started it out that way. I'm not. Well, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, but that's just how it is. So, so my whole point to everything that I'm saying is that whenever in life, whenever you are faced with those type of situations, you have to think about the fact that listen, you can't always win battles that when someone really just taking into themselves like, oh my God, well, this that listen, let people have it. Let people have it, because you're not going to win that battle. You know what I'm saying? You got to choose your battles wisely, and whatnot. That's what you got to do, and whatnot. So, and one of the things we saw was Candace Owen, and a lot of people have their thoughts and opinions about Candace and stuff like that. But she was being interviewed by this young man, and I assumed that he was a gay young man, and he was talking about this very subject. And she basically, her analogy was so spot on that she referenced the young lady who was trying to pass off as a black woman. She was very light skinned. Well, she was trying to pass herself off as a light skinned black woman, but she was born a white female. So, and he says, well, no, that's not the same thing. She said, well, you got to respect the trans culture. You got to respect the trans culture, because if you're gonna do that, you got to be consistent. Because she's trans. She was a part of the NAACP. She was this, and he's he's like, no, that's not the same, because she's trying to say that's just racist. That that's not something that she have done. Well, it's no different than what a man is doing, who's trying to say that he's a woman. He woke up one day and says, well, I'm a woman, or whatever the case is. She says no different. So you got to be consistent across the board. Which one are you going to choose? Are you going to choose to double back? And what's up, Maurice? Welcome to the stage. What's up? How you feeling?
Not bad. How we doing?
Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
Yes. All right. Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. Loud and clear.
Oh, there's a bad delay.
So, oh, really? Okay. 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 This looks like I'm gonna have to go ahead and
Restart.
go to the phone, because it's just that's crazy. That's just crazy. I don't know why this want to do this to me. Why does it want to do it to me? But give me just a sec. So I was talking about the first topic was I was talking about the delusion that a lot of people have. Miss Candace Owen. Let me show this real quick.
Oh,
Let me
I've
see
seen
if
that.
I can find it. You saw what I'm talking about?
It's old. It's been around for a long time, that conversation. But you know how a lot of
It's
people have been
very
avoiding.
old. Very
Yeah, a
old.
lot of people have been avoiding Candace Owen, so they haven't really been seeing the whole gauntlet of what she talks about. They hear one thing that she says and they don't like it, so they don't listen to anything else that she says. But yeah, it's an old.
Now that we live in a world where transsexual is a thing, what is your opposition to it? This insistence. Now that we live in a world where transsexual is a thing, what is your opposition to it? This insistence that we allow children to think that they can pick and choose their genders. That's definitely a psychosis. Like, this was not a thing. People were not struggling in kindergarten. We were not arguing about bathrooms. Like, this is all just made up. You're asking me to be crazy. You're asking me to look at a grown man and imagine that he's actually a woman, and that if he goes and gets work done, that he magically becomes a woman. So it's insanity. Otherwise, you would have to defend Rachel Dolezal. Well, would you defend her? Well, there's no defending crazy. That's crazy. Why is that crazy? Hold on. Because the white woman. Right. Yeah, that's a man saying he's a woman. But let's back up. We're talking about the trans issue. She's transracial. So give her respect. Put respect in her name. Explain to me how. Because on the inside, she felt black. She was dressing like she was black. She was making her skin darker like she was black. She was standing for the black cause. She was working for the NAACP. Just happened to be that she was, you know, white girl with blonde hair and freckles. It became problematic when somebody exposed it and people said, no, you can't just be black. Why not? If you're gonna say that a man can just be a woman, why can't Rachel Dolezal also just be black? You got to be consistent.
Because she's white.
Okay, because it's a man.
No, but hold on. I get it.
No, I'm right.
I get it. No, I don't agree.
I'm sorry that I'm consistent. Like, you have to figure out why you're not.
It's just so cold. You got office.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a bad day for streaming. I can't hear nothing.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, there you are. You look live.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
All right.
All right. Yeah, so we good right there. We good.
Oh, I feel like I'm talking to somebody live. It's almost like you're in my living room.
Right. It's crazy. Hey, Mrs. Phenomenal, how you doing?
The phenomenal, the phenom.
Dun, 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 dun. Phenomenal. Dun, 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 dun.
Phenomenal.
Y'all old as hell.
Whatever. Sorry for my lateness. The lights, the internet and stuff went out. We had a little small storm through here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had a little bit of it too.
Yeah. My chickens didn't like it.
But yeah, no, regarding that video, man, that's like I said, old. He's been kicking that around. That argument's old. It's been kicked around. And it was. I remember when it was going down. I'm like, these people are insane. They've lost their minds. Like this is a deep level brainwashing to try to not understand that logical connection. Like you can't just become whatever you feel like becoming. There's some real aspects to life. I mean, honestly, this all kind of popped off in 2020s during the pandemic and everything like that, where people just started trying. Like it's, I'm gonna tell you when I started paying attention, because this is where a huge point where I changed a lot of my politics when a lot of this stuff coming out, and I learned. I actually did some. What it was the whole BLM thing. I was a hard, staunch supporter of BLM. Not hard where I was out in the streets. I was in my house. I don't go out the streets for much people. But then I started hearing stuff about their website. Stuff that was on their website. And I went digging on that website. And it was exactly that. They literally stated that they were postmodern Marxists. I had to go research those two terms. A ton of research. You got to go research and figure out what that is if you don't know. So they said they were postmodern Marxists, with every intention, something along the lines of every intention or purpose of dismantling. That was the word they used. Dismantling the nuclear family. I was just like, what does this have anything to do with Black Lives Matter?
Right.
It was these kids getting shot by cops, right? Random, black men getting shot by cops all over the place, right? It was blown up on the news everywhere. Black Lives Matter, screaming and hollering about it, right? And then on their website, they're talking about dismantling the nuclear family. I was just like, so that's where these two terms, postmodern Marxist, when you put them together, and they created like basically a fakeness of reality. right? So that's where this, if you ever heard the term social construction as well,
Mm-hmm.
the term comes in as well, where you like they just feel like okay, where it originates is from the original debate of nurture versus nature, right? Anybody that's ever been to school long enough, they always talk about the philosophical debate of nurture versus nature. How much of our being is nurture? How much of it is nature? And it's always a debate. Oh, is this a nurture aspect of us, or is this the nature? And for the most part, most people have concluded we're a mix of both to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
The social constructionists, the postmodernists, the Marxists completely believe in nurture. They don't believe in the concept of nature at all. They don't think there's a natural subset or foundation to reality. Everything about reality is a thought, a brain, a social construction. And then when you mix that with gender, then you get this ridiculous concepts.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with the Black Lives Matter thing, I fell off after I did some digging as well, and there's a lot of disturbing stuff that I just, and then there were certain things that I noticed that they would really disappear. They wouldn't, like when we had a lot of big social issues that we had to address. Where were they? Like it was like you picking and choosing what you're going to support when it came to Black people. Now, if you're going to say Black Lives Matter, because see, now at the beginning, the way I saw it was that the premise of it was good. It was spot on, and it was probably like what you was talking about, because what you were thinking at the beginning was that yes, our lives do matter, because the way our police, the police have been treating us, the way a lot of stuff that's been going on is clearly racially driven. So yes, we have to state that yeah, Black Lives Matter, because honestly, they were treating us like our lives didn't matter at all. And then here you guys, here these people over here coming talking about, well, all lives matter. First of all, shut up. First of all, let's just say that right off the bat. Shut up, because number one, there's a reason why they had to even create a phrase like that. There was a specific reason. So when it comes to all lives, guess what? You don't have the same struggles Black people do. You don't have the same things created against you. You don't have a whole system created against you for you to fail or oppress you or sabotage the things that you don't have that. So you can't sit there and be like all lives matter. First of all, tell that to those people in the 1920s who lost their lives, and whole neighborhood got vandalized. Not neighborhood, but community got vandalized and looted and burned to the ground and stuff. Tell them that. There's a lot of examples we can go off of. So it was very dismissive for those individuals to be like, oh, well, all lives matter. First of all, we ain't talking about all lives. Pay attention. Focus. We're talking about Black people. Now, if you're a white person saying Black Lives Matter, yes, they do. Okay, I can rock with you. But if you're sitting there talking about all lives matter, there's a reason why we had to specifically create something that said all Black Lives Matter. There's a reason for that. And then the fact that you just coming along dismissing what the whole premises was supposed to be, that was one of my major issues. But then I started reading a little bit more and just kind of digging. And like you said, when you heard these little things, you started going down this rabbit hole of information. You're like, wait a minute, this ain't what I thought this was like this. And then you started researching who's behind the whole movement and all that. It was so much. And I was just like, you know what?
I didn't have to get that far. After I found out those two terms, postmodernist and Marxist, I was like, can't rock with it.
Yeah.
And then dismantling the nuclear family, I was like, definitely can't rock with it.
No.
It was just nonsense, pure nonsense.
Yeah. And then back to what we were just talking about. When you have someone, a man, I'm just going to say a man because this is coming from a man's point of view. You have a man that wakes up one day, oh, birds singing and chirping, and then all of a sudden he's like, you know what? I feel like a woman. And all of a sudden you go and do whatever you got to do, and you expect everybody to buy into your delusion. And then when somebody speaks out on it, you're in your feelings because they didn't buy into your delusion. Like, first of all, it's delusional to think that you're a whole nother sex just because you felt like it. Like you felt like you wanted to identify as. If I identify as a freaking panda, does that make me a panda? No. That just makes me a man who has some mental freaking problems.
I mean, that's what they don't want. Like I always, for me, this is a clear case of mental illness. Like, clear case. But they don't want to classify it as that. They want to classify it as normal. Even the word normal, they have a hard time dealing with the concept of that word. Like, this is normal. This is what we expect. And they always like to bring up the arguments of intersex, right? The people that come out with abnormalities in their gender or their sex. They don't want to deal with that concept of the fact that these are abnormal. You know, these come out with defects. I remember I battled with ChatGPT because it's just completely subscribed to this concept of gender identity and all this nonsense. And I actually trapped it in a corner. I started talking about, like, if you're born with 4 fingers, is that normal or is that abnormal? Oh, that's definitely an abnormality. I'm like,
right.
Oh,
right.
So if a girl is born with a penis, is that normal or abnormal? Oh, well, you know, gender comes in all different. Like, get the hell out of here! Like, get out of here! It's like, so it was. It's interesting. The only way to rationalize this is people have completely lost their foundation. People have completely lost their form of reasoning, and they're brainwashed. It's the only way to understand it. And it's usually, from what I can sense, it sounds like it's from a place of hyper compassion. Oh, think I'm talking by myself. Anybody? Oh, you hear me?
Hello? Yeah, I'm here. I hear everything you said. I heard it.
Yeah, like I said, it comes from
I'm just trying to catch up from what y'all was talking about, the 18 minutes that I was late.
When did a research?
No, we started out. I was talking about when I started out about the what the Candace Owens video that I had posted.
I've seen that one.
Yeah, and then we were talking about. He referenced Black Lives Matter and the mentality that was wrapped around the stuff that he saw, and we're just kind of tying it back into what we originally started talking about. Hey, Jeff.
Hi.
Man, I miss that forehead. Such a pretty forehead.
Especially when the light hit it.
The light hit it perfect.
The light hit it just right. Oh,
yeah. It was like swing.
They used to call me Olive Oil in school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's a good name. That's a good name. Good name.
Well, good.
Thank God. Accurate.
Thank God you wasn't shaped like it. Good Lord.
I was back then.
She was.
I was back then. When I was younger, yeah, I was a string bean. As far as I'll start with, like, the whole gender dysphoria topic. Only because I had a really deep conversation with someone not too long ago about it. You know, I think, like, obviously we want to keep it away from our children, right? Because children, you know, 1 minute they want to be a mermaid, the next minute they want to be a pirate, the next minute they hate bananas, and then they love bananas, right?
Right.
So we obviously want to keep things like that away from our children. Now, as far as adulthood, the way that I look at it is kind of like you can have a mental illness, right? So let's take bipolar, for example, right? If you're bipolar, you're always going to be bipolar, right? So the only thing that you can really do is you can try to better your life by going to therapy or taking your medications, whatever, you know, the choices and options are for that, right? And you can still live a pretty decent life, right? Right. Doesn't mean you crazy. And I kind of look at gender dysphoria as the same thing, where it's something that if that's what is truly going on with them as a mental illness, then that's what's going on with them. But I think that in this day and age, it's become a trend to be, because it's so accepted now. So they don't even seek the therapy or the counseling that they probably should. So they just they wing it, and then they jump into this lifestyle, and they haven't gone through any kind of therapy, counseling. You really just sit there with a medical doctor for 30 minutes, and they say, oh, you feel like a girl? Okay, well, here's some estrogen. Oh, you feel like a boy? Here's some testosterone. Because at the end of the day, the medical profession wants to make money off of you. They don't want to heal you. They don't want to help you. They want to make money off of you. And for the sake of the conversation that I had, is my friend who is actually a trans that I was talking to. And this friend is completely transitioned from male to female. Like, yep, completely transitioned. Looks better than me sometimes. I'm like, damn, how you look better than me? Like, huh. But the thing that I respect about my friend, I've known this person for 3 decades. And this person is always identified as a female. But this person went through the therapy. Nobody forced him to change as a child. He went through the therapy, the counseling. He went through, years. I'd have to say at least a decade before he finally made the decision that this is what I feel. Yeah, I know it might not be socially norm, but that's what I feel. And this person still goes to therapy even after transitioning. So I just feel like in this day and age, it's like, yes, obviously gender dysphoria is a mental illness, but there's a way to go about it. And I think that the medical institutions take advantage of that because there's so much money to be made off of their drugs and their surgeries. So they don't take the time. I mean, no different than kids. What's the first thing when a kid's acting up? Oh, he has this. He got ADHD, or he's this, or he's that. We got to put him on medication.
Everything's got a diagnosis now. So everything's got a diagnosis now. Like, kid won't sit still, you got a diagnosis. Kid said no, you got a diagnosis.
Right. So instead of treating the problem the right way, we just medicate them or let them do whatever. Oh, it's okay. He can tear up the store because he has ADHD, or he's this, or he's that.
That's right. 2 words I've learned to come to hate now is "it's okay." I think every time I hear it, it triggers me.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to trigger you.
No, I'm being facetious. But
I mean, we've seen that, like where a kid will act up, and it's like, oh, it's okay. He has he has an IEP, or he has he has something.
Some 3-letter thing. He has a 3-letter thing.
Right. It's something with 3 letters. Now, talking about 3 letters, as far as BLM, I'm the same. I feel the same as y'all. At first, it was like, okay, BLM, you know what? Y'all right. Our Black lives do matter, and these police need to stop, treating these Black people like they can just do whatever. But then when I started seeing things, I was like, wait a minute, y'all are not really about Black Lives Matter. And Candace Owens, the same person that we saw on the video about the transgenderism, she's actually one of the ones that made a documentary exposing them. How are you Black Lives Matter, but you're not pouring back into the community? So it's pretty much like they were financially benefiting off of the traumas of the Black community. You're living in a couple of $1 million mansion. I don't know how much the mansion was worth, but you living in a mansion that you didn't live in before you did this organization. But I don't see you pouring anything back into the community.
Buying strippers and like gay and lesbian strippers and transgender strippers. Like, it was some nonsense. It was a bunch of nonsense.
And I did, and then that was another thing. Like, everybody seemed to be gay. And then, like you said, like with the nuclear family thing, I saw that too. And I'm just like, well, wait a minute. This seems more like an agenda to me versus you actually trying to do some good. So I discounted them a long time ago. The Black Lives Matter movement. You know, and to take it a step further, the one thing that irritates my soul when it comes to the whole Black Lives Matter is that in society, it seems that Black lives only matter when a Black life is lost by the hands of a white person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, but when we're out there killing each other, aborting our children, selling our aunties and uncles and cousins drugs and getting them hooked, you know, you don't see no BLM, you don't see no Al Sharpton, Ben Crump. They don't wheel Jesse Jackson's ass out in the wheelchair, you know. So that's my main pet peeve when it comes to the Black Lives Matter thing, where, you know, it only seems to matter if it's another race that takes our lives. But if it's one of us, we don't hear anything about it. You know, kind of like what's going on in Chicago. You know, they offing each other left and right down there, you know. And you got your government officials say, oh no, there's nothing to see here. There's no problem here. We got this under control. You know. But again, it's like Black lives only matter when it's a white person that takes a black person's life. But we can go out and shoot 58 people on Labor Day weekend, and they look like us, and nothing, you know.
And that's what I was talking about, Maurice, when I was saying that they seem to disappear at certain times. They like, you know, that's exactly what I was talking about. Everything that she just said, and that's the reason why I lost all respect for anything that they were. Anytime they labeled it, like, because the power of it from where it started at the beginning absolutely disappeared because they weren't consistent. The things that they were doing was only for political purposes, or if they just wanted to make a big stink about something for about 15 minutes. Like, dude, you got to be consistent when you are talking about Black Lives Matter. This is a real thing. So when you become when you become non-consistent, when you become inconsistent with the things that you're supposed to be standing on, you're supposed to stand on business and all those things, all those issues and stuff like that. Not just when it's convenient for you. You know what I'm saying? You just really can't do it that way. And when they started disappearing in those moments, because I was quietly watching. Same with Jessica. She was quietly watching. You know what I'm saying? Same with a lot of us. We just quietly watch. And then we start to see certain little inconsistencies. We're like, that's very interesting. That's very interesting. And I just lost all respect for it. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like, you know what? I don't want to hear nothing else about it, because now I can't even say that anymore, because we don't even matter to each other. Like, how are you going to hold somebody else accountable and we ain't holding each other accountable?
So honestly, too, this is a very unpopular opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But even the basis of the concept where Black Lives, the whole, like, you know, I understand the sentiment behind Black Lives Matter, and I don't disagree with that. But how it swelled up into what it was all about media nitpicking what it was going to show.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because I don't know if you guys are familiar with Roland Fryer.
With what, hon?
Roland Fryer. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Roland Fryer. He's an economist.
The one with the podcast?
With the podcast? I don't think he has a podcast. Are you talking about Coleman Hughes?
Oh, okay. Well, never mind. Go ahead.
Anyways,
you're not talking about Roland Martin.
Nah.
Oh, okay.
Definitely not Roland Martin. Roland Martin's a whole different, on the other side of the spectrum. But Roland Fryer, 2016, I think. Harvard. Yeah. Harvard. But he's a professor in Harvard for economics. And he was pissed off about all the police shootings, all these police shooting, you know, black boys and stuff like that. So he actually went out and decided that he was going to do a study. So he went and he went to each of these police stations, and he actually did a study. And he went through all the rigorous aspects of making sure to check everything, sending people that didn't know anything about what he was looking for to collect the data. Like he tried to make it as blind as possible so he wouldn't influence the information that's the other. He did it twice because he didn't like the first one, which concluded that there was no bias on police when it came to shootings.
Oh, I remember that. Yep, I did see that.
There was no bias when it came to police when they shot to kill. But there was a bias on like low-level police interactions with Black people. So, and he was actually had the opportunity to bring this to Barack Obama, and Barack Obama sat on it. He didn't do anything about it.
Matter of fact, I think you shared that one time.
Yeah.
That guy. Yep, I remember now.
So, so there was this intentional uprising, and I've always said, politically, they've kind of used the emotions of Black people in this country as a cudgel to move the political level. And unfortunately, Black people keep taking the bait, and they're emotionally led by the grievances. Partially, the grievances are true. I'm not saying that there's not reasons for it, but it's no different than a fish. I mean, you pissed off a fish and he hooks onto the hook. I mean, you're still a dead fish at the end of the day. You can't be led by your emotions into nonsense just because you actually have a real grievance. You still gotta man your position correctly and create a situation that actually makes sense for you to actually achieve the goals that you're looking to achieve. So even the roots of how Black Lives Matter started, it doesn't seem authentic. It's all manufactured.
Well, you're going to love what I say, Maurice. Well, we also have to see who started this movement.
Well, the lesbians.
A bunch of women.
Yeah, a bunch of lesbians.
Reacting out of emotion. And I think what happened is they reacted out of emotion, and then they saw the money that there was to be made.
Of course.
And then they continued on that, So they play on your emotions because they were women. They really didn't come with much solution.
Yeah.
They just really, changed some street names and painted a street and did some rallies, and they bought some $1 million homes. Matter of fact, one of them had 2 homes. One she would only have parties in.
Yep.
And the other one she lived in, So that one was a big, huge turnoff when I found that out, because I'm like, okay, you have these $1 million homes, but Black Lives Matter. But what did you build a community center? What did you do? Did you do anything for the Black Lives Matter part?
No,
So at this point, it seems like only your Black ass life matters.
Right.
Yeah. See, the issue is, if you're emotionally led and everything about what you did was emotionally sponsored, if you will, and you give these people a ton of money, you think all of a sudden ethics are going to come into play?
Mm-mm.
They're going to go with their emotions. That's what got them there in the first place. They didn't actually build the fortitude and the integrity necessary to actually build something with, the actual ethical framework. They always were led by the emotions from the beginning. Now they have a ton of money and a bunch of emotion.
Mm-hmm.
Time to get my freak on. This is my coming up. This is my season, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
I was happy when Candace exposed them. I watched that whole thing.
Yeah.
I was very happy.
Yeah. Because at the beginning, years ago, some of the stuff that she stood on was bogus. But as the years kind of tick through, she's making a lot more sense on a lot of different issues. And it's just like, I don't really care if you don't like the messenger, but is the message spot on? Is the message true? A lot of people like to say, "Oh well, he this and he that." First of all, I don't care what message, who the messenger is. You know what I'm saying? If the person is speaking the truth, The truth don't care nothing about your feelings.
Right.
And that's what people don't understand. The truth is the truth. I don't care who delivers the message.
If a smoker tells you to stop smoking, you gonna ignore him?
Right.
I mean, what is it? Hypocrites are not liars. I remember somebody told me that a long time ago. Hypocrites are not liars. And it took me a while to understand that. What do you mean hypocrites? Hypocrites are not liars. Because if I'm doing something dirty and I tell you not to do this dirty thing, I'm a hypocrite.
Yeah.
But I ain't lying. Not lying.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, like when I don't think that people, like in this society right now, we're in such an enabler type of society that other countries are looking at it and they've been laughing for years because the stuff that we prioritize make no sense. Makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, this goes back to the hyper compassion problem. Like everybody's always worried about hyper discipline, hyper aggression, right? But there's this other side of the coin, hyper compassion, where people think that you can be too hard, and that's a problem. You got to watch out for that. But when you're too soft, oh, that's not a problem. The softer, the better. I mean, the same thing that was going on in California, where there was letting criminals out.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The only reason they're criminals is because they had a hard life, and they just need a little bit more love. And it's just that we're not loving them enough as a society, and everybody just needs. My favorite story is Anna Kasparian. I don't know if you guys know Anna Kasparian. She's from Anna Kasparian.
I don't think so.
She's one of these hard lefties that was on is still currently on the Young Turks, TYT.
Oh, her. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
White blonde.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
She was like, defund the police. She was all get these people out of jail, this, that, and the other. Stop locking these innocent people up. And she was walking down in her neighborhood one time, whatever, in her jog outfit or whatever, the tight stuff. And she bent over to tie her shoes. And some dude, I'm laughing. I shouldn't be laughing. some dude that was high on whatever grabbed her by her hips and started thrusting while she was bent over. Yeah, go ahead. Try not to laugh. It's messed up. But ever since that happened, she completely changed her tune. She was like, nah, lock him up. Forget all this compassion. Nah, lock him up.
Gonna be humping on me. No.
But it's whenever you see these people, it's like they never get to that thought process of what if that was me? Or what if I had to deal with these people? They never get to that level. I don't understand it. But when it actually happens, all of a sudden they understand what's going on. Like it's always let everything go. Oh wait, where are you putting that? In my backyard? No, not here. That's what's funny about it.
That's crazy.
It's good for you, right? It was the same thing that was going on with all the immigrants that were coming, right? The illegal immigrants that were coming. And where was they dumping them? They were dumping them in the poor spots of Chicago. They was dumping them like what do you do it? As soon as they bust them suckers up to Martha's Vineyard where Obama and them lived, they put them suckers on a plane and they was gone.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't mess with it. But these are the same people that were like, oh, let them in, let them rock. As long as they over there with y'all folks.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's wild to me. It's annoying because for some reason, again, there's this like brainwashing of like this hyper compassion thing. Like, I don't know what they think. Well, okay, it kind of comes back to what we was talking about before, where it's the hyper compassion comes from the concept of nurture over nature, right? They understand. They feel like people. The only reason that makes people bad is because they were raised bad. They were exposed to much bad things. No, some people are nasty and rotten, and they choose to be that way, and they enjoy being that way.
I guess I lack that stuff you talking about. I don't have that.
The hyper compassion. Yeah, I mean, we already talked about it. You know, let one of your sons that you didn't raise right come through my door. They're catching a bullet in the head. We're not hugging.
And guess what? And guess what? If I know my son a knucklehead, I ain't about to get up on the news and be like, he was such a good boy. He never hurt nobody. I'd be like, my son was an asshole. I tried to tell him he was gonna get shot, but he ain't listened to me. So I'm sorry that you had to go through this.
Yeah, I'm sorry for your trauma and having to deal with my boy. I've been dealing with him a while.
Exactly. That's what I mean. I'm sorry for your trauma for having to deal with him. I've been trying to tell him to stop this shit. Like these mothers get over here, oh my God, he never hurt nobody, and he was a pillar of the community, and he treated his brothers so good. And I'm like,
It's the same nonsense that's going up that happened up nearby me in the whole stabbing of the twin, that the Carmelo Anthony kid.
Yeah.
What? I'm like, come on. Like, I get it. He was probably bugging him, dealing with a bully. But like out of nowhere, have a knife. Like it's y'all don't know this. I know the area. I work in that area. We're talking about upper class. If we're talking about any type of level of neighborhood, we're talking about the higher upper class of person. This is where
Carmelo's family they're not poor.
These people are well off.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so there's something else going on.
Yeah. But
nobody wants to ask questions about the hell was going on with this kid that you thought you could stab this guy, that you brought a knife to school. We're not talking. This is not the hood. I could take you down to the hood here in Dallas. If that happened down there, it'd make more sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
But where it was happening, it don't make any sense. And then you gotta ask questions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but like what? There's this one. I think it's in Texas too. I think it's in Houston, where the 11-year-old boy got shot from doing that ding dong ditch prank.
Yeah.
Was that Houston? Yeah.
I think it was Houston. The 11-year-old boy. He out at 11 o'clock at night. Okay, first of all, what is your 11-year-old doing outside at 11 o'clock at night?
Listen, I played tons of ding dong ditch. And it took one incident to tell me to stop. That's where.
But here's the difference. Like our ding dong ditch, we did that like at dusk because we had to be in the house when the street lights came on, and we like literally like rang the doorbell. These kids is kicking doors and making it seem like they trying to break in your house.
And that's not ding dong ditch.
No, apparently that thing kid hit that door 3 times. Right? Like 3 times hit the same door.
Yeah.
Like, we ain't never did that. It was the door on our way home. And we're like, all right, let's do this grand. Like we don't pick a door. I lived near the project, so there was a bunch of doors. So there was no like single home families and that like that. Family houses. There was a bunch of doors there. So like we all picked the door, we're like, all right, ready? 1, 2. Somebody would always knock on 2, but we'd have to hurry. That's how we did it. But there was one instance where one cat caught my older cousin and had him in the middle of the street kicking him with a butcher knife, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm done with this game. That was it for me.
But for these kids these days, they be doing the most. They don't be like it doesn't even matter how they do it. Like, because you're not first of all, you're not trying to damage nobody's door. First of all, that's not something you're trying to do. And like Phenomenal said, like you kick people's doors and stuff like that. Like it sounds like you trying to break in the door. Like, and people are armed these days. You can't be playing with people like that. People got their whole families in the house, and you sitting there banging on the door like you about to break into the house. Now, I don't agree with them shooting nobody in the back.
I was going to get to that. That was excessive.
Yeah,
you don't shoot nobody in the back.
Shot the kid running away.
Yeah,
that's not defending your home. And then on top of that, he's outside the house. He never made it in the house. So
Yeah.
why would you shoot that boy in the back like that?
No, he was alleviating
Yeah.
his frustration. Right, that's different than protecting your home, right? Alleviating your frustration, like you irritated, you're at your limit, and you're trying to release it on somebody, and you're picking that kid, and you just finding a reason. That's one thing, and then there's the other thing of protecting your home. He wasn't protecting himself.
Yeah, no, I agree. I do not agree that he should have opened fire at all.
He needs to go to jail.
Like every time that I've spoken about it, that's just like what the 3 young black boys that got killed, and the mothers were trying to sue the homeowners because they shot all 3 of them.
Yep.
And I'm like, but now they were a little bit different. They were older. They had on hoodies, masks, and had guns.
And they broke into the house.
Yes.
All I can hear is that they broke into the house.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm like, that's a positive day for this gentleman. Good job.
Yeah. He gets an applause.
Good job.
So real quick story. I remember one time, Billy and the boys. I don't know for what. I think I had to work. This was a while back. I think I had to work, and Billy and the boys were in Newport News at Yaya and Papa house, and I was at home by myself, and I heard something. Now I live on 3.5 acres. Every house in this neighborhood is at least on 2 acres plus. We're on a back road, so like it's not like we're in a neighborhood where you just happen to be coming into my yard, right? And so one day I was home and I heard something. It was late at night, so I heard something. I armed myself. I secured the house to make sure nothing was in the house. While I was doing that, I called the police. I said, yes, I hear some noises outside. Can you please send somebody to check it out? Obviously, the house was clear. The police officer came. And what he did is he, went around the neighborhood and he came back to let me know that everything was okay. And guess what he had in the back of his car? He had 3 teenagers in the back of his car. So I asked him, I said, hey, can I talk to them for a minute? He said, sure, man. And we walked up to the cruiser together, and he opened the door. I said, look, let me tell y'all something. I said, y'all mama was about to plan a funeral for y'all. I said, because if I was anybody else, I could have just shot and not asked any questions. I said, so your mother was about to bury y'all all over a prank or acting a fool in a place that you ain't even got no business being. These kids need to learn that you can't, even if it is, you think you're doing a prank, especially in this day and age, y'all kids got to stop doing that because I got a family to protect. And guess what? I'm protecting my family over you. And the kids were sitting there looking, like suck puppets, looking, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And I'm like, well, I really hope you learned something. I said, because I could have shot y'all dead. Sitting around here playing pranks. I said, in this neighborhood, I said, I can guarantee you all of us armed. I guarantee you that one. I live with old retired black folks and rednecks, okay? They all armed. I promise you. And hunters.
Y'all in Virginia, right?
Yeah. But I mean, the officer was like, he said, no, thank you for talking to them. And I'm like, well, I hope they learn because the next person might have just opened fire. You might have got, because you don't know. Like I said, I was at home by myself. Let's say I wasn't military. Let's say I didn't hunt. Let's say I didn't, have like some kind of self-control and I was just scared. And I heard the noises. I could have just started opening fire. And whoever got hit, got hit. So yeah, he shouldn't have shot that boy because he was definitely fleeing. Because from what I understand, he was kind of like chasing after the boy, damn near, and opened fire.
Yeah, but man had saw murder in his eyes. There was murder in his eyes.
Yeah, I ain't like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
People need all these little TikTok challenges and kids. Y'all stop doing this dumb shit.
And it's all because they bored.
It's beyond
now,
boredom.
but on the other hand, hold on. We do have to address. I want to know why the 11-year-old boy was out at 11 o'clock at night. Because my 11-year-old
parents. That's what it comes
not
out.
never. My 13-year-old not never. My 16-year-old, maybe if he went to the movies and I dropped him off and I'm picking him up or something like that, but just to be roaming the streets, playing ding dong ditch, nah, that's not happening.
Yeah. I mean, it's sad. It's very sad.
Yeah, I just don't get it because the mindsets of everybody is just blown. I don't understand people like it's the and it's I hate to have to attach a mental illness to a lot of this stuff, but it's like nobody's teaching these kids nothing, and then on top of that, a lot of these parents, these so-called parents, are acting like the streets are the kids' babysitter, or whatever the case is. Like, yo, just because you want to do what you want to do, that don't mean you just let your child just go off and do whatever they want to do. And that's what's been happening.
You know what?
That's just like the mothers that tried to sue the homeowner. I'm looking at them like,
this is what I was going to clarify. I noticed it. I fall into it every now and then too. But we gotta start calling out these single mothers because 9 out of 10 of these kids, they're coming from single mother homes, and we love to protect that concept by saying parents. And the reality, yes, the father is just as responsible, even though he's not there. But let's get real. The father wasn't there, so the only one that could be or should be held responsible is the parent that's there. It's not a pretty situation. It's not a blame game I'm trying to do, but there's a certain aspect of pointing out the problem that's necessary. And these single mother homes, they're creating these kids out here with no sense. This whole mentality that the village is going to raise them.
But you're not wrong. That's the sad thing about it. You're not wrong when it comes to this kind of thing. They don't like to hear it, but the facts are facts. Men raise their children differently than single mothers raise their children. I'm sorry, but that's just a fact. And stuff like that. And we see it I see it a lot on social media. How and these people, these women, they're living their lives, and I don't know why they video, but they're saying stuff and doing stuff and presenting and doing stuff around kids where when I was raised, we wasn't even allowed to be in the same room with adults having conversations. You know what I'm saying? And these mamas are twerking in the mirror with their little 6-year-old son sitting there, or it's a whole lot of different things. And then you put your emotional baggage on that child. You keep putting your emotional baggage on that child. That's that child's responsibility. First of all, that's not that child's business what's going on in your adult life, stuff like that. And then you get frustrated because the guy ain't there no more. So now, since you frustrated, you taking all your frustrations out on that child. I've seen it firsthand. You know what I'm saying? Then you got those women who curse their kids out like they grown people. How you cursing your 4-year-old out? Like it's their fault that they're here. And you don't think that carries some type of emotional baggage. You don't think that carries some kind of consequence to that child because you're teaching that child essentially how to emotionally conduct themselves. So if you have no self-control and no emotional intelligence, guess what? That child ain't gonna have no emotional control or intelligence.
Well, and then to top it off, like we say, and this is me speaking as a woman, and y'all know I'm pretty straightforward. That's why it's important for women to make better choices who they procreate with. One of the things that I noticed, especially in a household with multiple baby fathers that are not around, it makes it even worse. It's one thing to have, and I really did look into this. It's one thing to have, let's say I have 3 kids by Billy, and Billy says, you farted and it stinks and I'm out of here. I don't want you no more, right? Now I'm a single mother, right? But all 3 of my children are by the same guy. Now, if you have 4 or 5 children, and these 4 or 5 children have 4 or 5 different fathers, they also have 4 or 5 different families. So then, like, when psychologically that has to mess with them. So let's say you got 4 kids, 4 fathers. Let's just keep it, mathematically simple.
Keep it even.
Yeah, yeah. Let's say so. One father, he's active. He comes around all the time. He does everything he's supposed to do. You have another child, his or her baby father, and he's consistent. He's maybe he's not as consistent. He comes around every once in a while. Then you got one that maybe that father's locked up, right? And then you have one that may be dead. So you have these 4 different children by 4 different fathers. And psychologically, that has to be rough on those kids. Because then what do you do on holidays? You got to send all 4 kids to 4 different families, or it's a mess.
It's confusing. It's very confusing.
It's very confusing for them, And so sometimes when I look at the younger kids, I try to hold my judgment because I try to find their story and see what is really going on with them. And then sometimes I could be like, well, damn, I kind of could see why you all jacked up. Like, I get it, but so sometimes it's not just about the single motherhood in itself.
Mm-hmm.
There's like deeper roots to why their behavior is the way they are. Because again, I can't imagine having 4 kids and 4 different fathers. So every Christmas I got to send my 4 kids to 4 different families. Not cool. And then, like I said, so now the one that's active, he comes around and that kid gets Jordans and he goes to Disney World, and the other kids is looking like, well, where's my dad? Why doesn't my dad come around?
Did you? So speaking on that, I want to put a pin right in it where you just was at. Did y'all see the video of the girl who was confronting the guy who bought his child food or whatever the case is, and she was mad because he didn't bring enough food for the other 2 kids?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a skit, but I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think I saw it too.
Yeah, I saw the real video about it too. And he was like, look, and my thing was, bro, if you already know how petty she is and how she is, take your son with you. Y'all go do what y'all got to do. Feed your son while he out.
Mm-hmm.
Get him what he got to get, or whatever the case is, and then bring him back home. Don't give your child food to eat in front of other children. Don't do that.
Yeah. I mean, listen. I'm not exactly sure your situation, but I got a baby mama. I hate saying that term, baby mama, but I'm trying to figure out what's the title for her. But I got a baby mama that got kids by other men, and I nipped that stuff in the bud, and because I know she tried to pawn another kid onto me, and I was like, no. I looked at that straight in the eye. So I was like, listen, I know you're doing this because I actually cared about the little girl, I pretty much kind of tagged it, whenever she tagged along, it was another kid. I didn't have a problem with it, no issues, but I started seeing that it started becoming an expectation for her. So I was like, all right, I'm taking my boys out to golf. I'm gonna need this much to take. Oh, you need? Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I do. I absolutely need money to take your child out because I'm here to take care of my children. Ever since that, she made sure that girl never saw me again. I was like, cool. And there's a certain level of callousness that you've got to build to deal with these lecherous women. Lecherous.
Well, I was gonna say, as far as the men that I've come across in my lifetime who have been in certain situations, I don't think that men are actually very giving. Most of the men that I've met, I'll say that. So most of the men, let's say they were in a situation, they're divorced or whatever. Let's say she has another child. If he stops by and brings McDonald's, 9 times out of 10, he's probably going to bring something else. But if he starts to see that this becomes a habit and you're taking advantage of it, then he's going to start being like, yeah, no, I had 1 kid with you, or I had 2 kids with you. I'm feeding my children. Now you're making an expectation that every single time. And especially if the baby daddy ain't involved, then forget it. Because it's like, well, not now. So you left me, you got another baby daddy, and he ain't crap. Now you want me to take care of not just my kids, but the one that you procreated with ain't taking care of his? No, I'm not doing it. And I can't even get mad at that. Because at that point, it's like, well, you need to go find your baby daddy or pull some money out your pocket and get them something.
And I'm pretty sure I mentioned this to you guys a while ago, but there is this concept of these women constantly getting pregnant by different dudes. There is this psychological thing where they're trying to birth beings that will never leave them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, that was the perfect reaction. Right? They're trying to birth the things that will never leave them. And I've actually been doing some psychological research on attachment styles. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. Like, there's certain attachment styles. One of the attachment styles is anxious attachment, and that's associated with oxytocin. Oxytocin is this wonderful hormone that mostly predominates women that happens when they give birth. They also experience it when they have close friendships, and obviously that's usually what women look for when they're saying, I don't feel connected. If they don't feel connected, usually it's they're not getting that surge of oxytocin to bond with their partner usually. So, but the thing is, like I said, when mothers have children, they get a surge of oxytocin. And anxious attachment style people, they're actually addicted to that oxytocin feeling, right? So whenever they're not getting enough oxytocin from people in their community or whatever, because they have other behaviors that grieves them away, obviously, and have them forced them to disconnect, they usually end up in a situation where they find a new guy, they build that oxytocin level, they get pregnant, and then they have now this child, and then eventually what ends up happening is they grieve that guy away, and the cycle continues.
And that's
I'm
sorry,
not birthing nothing I'm trying to keep forever.
You have a healthy attachment style. Yeah,
right.
Healthy attachment style. Because part of attachment is detaching. You need to learn how to detach.
But she also understands, and I don't mean to speak for her, but knowing the way she thinks about things in general, I feel like she also knows that each one of those children are supposed to cleave to their respective wife and eventual husband when they get an adult, when they go into adulthood. They supposed to detach and cleave to their wife. That's how that's supposed to work. And the way you do that on a healthy basis is prepare your children for what they're supposed to be, so that when it gets to that point, it's a transition. First of all, your sons are always going to have their mama as a number one. But when they get married, their wife becomes a new number one. So he essentially has two number ones in his life. But the love is different for the mama than for the wife. And a lot of people don't understand that. They don't understand it.
If my son ever thinks that I come before his wife, I have failed.
Right.
Even with my mother-in-law, my mother-in-law, they're very traditional anyways. And it's one of those things, hey, run it by your wife, run it by the lady of the house. Things of that nature, she knows, but she also knows that if she calls and says, hey, matter of fact, she said, hey, can I borrow my son for the weekend? I need him to move this, or let's whatever it may be. And I'm like, yeah, Ma, of course. Why are you even asking? But it's because that's the type of person she is. Your wife comes first. Your family comes first.
No, she knows where the roles fit. She knows the hierarchy. She knows where to fall. That's your son. You birthed them to give him away.
matter of fact, I be trying to give him back, but she won't take him back.
But yeah, so there's also the concept of in psychological literature, the self-devouring mother, and the imagery in like I think there's an Indian goddess that emulates this thing where she's actually as she's giving birth to a child, she's also consuming the child. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
So if it completely fits this concept of, I'm gonna give birth to the thing that's never going to leave me. Right. So you never allow that child to.
Well, that also goes back to, and I remember, look, and I'm gonna tell you, this is a true experience. When I was growing up, when I was younger, a lot of my friends were actually teenage mothers, right? I lived in Buffalo, New York at that time. So I don't know if you know about Buffalo, New York, but it's like a couple notches below Chicago.
Okay.
And
worse or better?
Better. I would say it's a little better than Chicago.
Okay.
I don't know about now because I ain't been back. But anyways, and a lot of my friends would get pregnant, teenagers. And that's one of the things that they would say, because guess what? Their fathers weren't at home. And I would be like, why are you keeping this baby? Like, this is crazy. You're still in high school. Like, what are you going to do? You don't have a job. You don't have anything. And that would be one of the things that they said. Well, I know that my baby will never leave me. I know they'll love me unconditionally. And I remember my father, and this is probably, I got to give kudos to Pops in heaven. Hey, baby. I got to give kudos to Pops. He used to tell me, he said, watch what you're doing. He said, watch them. Don't end up like them. Because watch, when you used to come outside and play, guess who ain't coming outside to play no more? And if they do, they got a baby stroller in their hand, or they got a baby carrier in their hand. They got their baby with them. You're gonna stop. You're not gonna see them as often because they pretty much just ended their childhood because now they have to be parents. Because this was also back in the day where grandmamas didn't play that shit. Like, you won't about to leave this baby with me all day. Nope. Go to school, come home, do your homework, now take care of this damn baby. So I didn't see my friends as much anymore because they had babies. I have a friend that is my age. And she obviously didn't break the cycle. Like, sometimes I look and like what is she? I'm 48, she's 50. She has 11 grandkids. 11 grandkids, some of them older too. I'm not talking about itty bitties. I'm talking about 11 grandkids, like about to graduate from high school. So she didn't even break the cycle.
How could she?
Huh?
No, I'm saying, how could she? Like, the issue is that, never mind. I was going to go into a whole deep philosophy, but I don't think we got time for that.
But all I'm saying is that, like, she didn't even break the cycle. So now her children had children early. She had them so early that she can be a grandparent at 48. Like,
that's crazy.
That's crazy to me. I mean, granted, I know I started late, so I'm not saying like that it can't happen. I started late. Shit, I'll be 60 when Momo graduates high school. Okay, and then the boys are 13 and 12. So I started later in life. I wish I would have started a little earlier, but no regrets overall. Right. But to have like 11 grandchildren and you're the same age as me, and they're not even little bitty grandbabies, they're grown. William and Ethan's age, huh?
That's crazy.
See, there's another aspect of it too. All right, here's the other aspect: is in order to tell your children that what they're doing is wrong and you shouldn't do it, you have to first accept that what you did was wrong and that you shouldn't have done it. And that level of hypocrisy that they can't square, they just can't square it. right? Like I got no problem telling my kids like, oh, this is where I screwed up. Don't do it. But that's the thing; they don't want to actually ever admit that they made a mistake.
That's called zero accountability. That's what that's called.
This goes back to all they want to hear that is it's okay. Remember?
Right.
It's okay. Oh, you got knocked up again by your fifth baby dad. It's okay. It's okay. Oh, your kids are now getting knocked up by their fifth baby daddy. Oh, it's okay. It's okay.
Like my children, I can say this. Like sometimes, like when let's say the boys getting on my nerves, right? I'll be like, you know what? I can't wait till y'all have kids so y'all can see what y'all put me through. And they be like, Mom, we gotta have a wife first. And I'm like, you're right, baby. You're right. That's right. Good boy. You damn right.
Good boy.
Right.
Good boy. Thank you. Keep that same energy, okay?
But that's the one thing I don't understand. And I'm speaking from a male point of view, from what I observe, what I've experienced. I don't understand why it's so painful for some women to be accountable. Like right now, I was looking at the amount of people that responded to my TikTok post about men's mental health. Do you not understand? Over 103,000 views and about 9,000 comments have now been on that post since last Tuesday.
Damn, you big balling over there, bro.
Last Tuesday, and most of it was dismissals from women.
Yeah.
Most of it was deflections from women.
Yeah.
Most of them was spinning the narrative to turn it around to make it about them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what are you talking about? Did you read the post? And my post simply said, why is men's mental health not either prioritized or talked about more? That was it.
More than who, Dedrick? More than who?
So I got everything from it's y'all fault if y'all don't prioritize y'all mental health. Would y'all want us to do that for you too? Would you want us to solve your problems too? What you like? I heard so much dismissals. I'm like, and you wonder why men don't come to you to be transparent, and you wonder why. You wonder why, and then you sit there and say, well, men, y'all have just enough. Y'all have every resource out there just like we do. We have groups and stuff like that. Why can't y'all do that? I said, first of all, let's get something straight. Who said that we don't? Did you pay attention to what the question said? It had nothing to do with a comparison about men and women. Did you hear me mention women in what I asked? No, it was a discussion question. I wasn't blaming anyone. I wasn't attacking anyone. I said, why isn't it prioritized or discussed more? That's it. Now, some of them had valid points that sometimes men, they belittle other men for having feelings, or they'll tell their sons, well, you need to man up and suck it up. You need to. First of all, that's a true thing. That's a very true thing. So for those individuals, I didn't have anything to say, but it was those individuals, women, who always wanted to reverse it, just reverse Uno everything and make it about them or women. They even went to the extent to say, well, it's the patriarchy, and they've experimented on women and they've abused women and did it. Am I the only person in the room that actually knows how to read? At what point was this about women? At what point? And they can't give me a straight answer. And then every now and again, you'll see certain people calling that out. Like, how did y'all make this whole post about women? A man can't even talk about his own issues without y'all trying to make it a competition of who suffers more. Or if anybody else, well, women got issues too. So why can't y'all? What are you talking about? I even had somebody say, oh, they made it an issue on the same month as the LGBTQ community to take away from the LGBTQ community and stuff like that. What are you talking about? You act as if we can only talk about one thing at a time.
This is the oppression hierarchy. Like, you got to have enough of the grievances to be heard above anybody else. That's why a lesbian, trans, disabled person always gets black. Excuse me, I forgot black in the characteristics there. Let's trans black person gets forefront and gets, like, at any point in time, they get the mic. They get to talk about their grievances before anybody else. Nobody else is allowed to have grievances when this person is allowed to have grievances. And when it comes to men versus women, women are higher on the oppression hierarchy. So they get to speak ahead. So that's why they get this entitlement from. And I've said this before. I'm gonna say it again. It's an unpopular opinion, but I'm a firm believer. I'm gonna leave it as strictly my opinion, but I'm a firm believer that women in general, biologically, in general, aren't designed to solve problems. They're amazing at identifying problems. Absolutely amazing. Because you want a problem, ask a woman. She'll give you plenty of problems to solve. But I'm not saying women are incapable of solving problems, right? I'm not talking about their full-on capabilities, but their base nature is not to actually solve the problem. Their base nature is to identify problems. Our nature as men is to solve problems. That's one of the things that actually irritates women about men. They want to talk to you about identifying a problem. We're too busy trying to solve it. So when you presented what you did online, you pointed at a problem. That's not okay. That's not what they wanted, because you're pointing at the wrong problem as far as they're concerned. Right? You pointed at the problem, hoping as a man, right? Hoping to get some solutions, some critiques that's going to help clarify the situation. You know what I'm saying? But what you get bombarded with? You didn't get bombarded with solutions. You didn't get bombarded, because that's the language that men speak at naturally. Not all, but the base nature of it is that's what it is. That's why I say women, in general, women are not designed to solve problems. Not incapable.
Well, I mean, I can't say that I can't say that I agree with you on that. But because when you say design, first of all, a woman is a human being. She has to be able to solve problems on her own as an adult human being. So I can't say that a woman isn't designed to solve problems. That's not going to be an accurate statement, because now I do understand what you mean by we're solution driven. We're that's how we're wired. I get that, because that's just a true thing. And women do identify issues or problems more than men tend to do. However, I won't ever say that they're not designed to solve problems. They have to. They have to adult. And in order to get to adult, you have to be able to solve issues.
That's why I'm here to say the stuff that you won't say, Dedrick.
Oh no! I'm not going to say that. That's something I'm not going to say, because it doesn't make sense. That's not going to make sense to me. Because if you're a human being, you're supposed to be an adult. You're supposed to be able to adult, and a part of adulting is problem solving. You have to be able to do that as an adult.
I think the difference, but this is my personal opinion as a woman. I think the differences between men and women in problem solving is that, okay, let's use the grocery store logic, right? If we give you a list and we say we need this from the grocery store, right? You go to boom, 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 boom. You get exactly what's on that list, and you come home, right? Now, let's say the woman goes to the grocery store. She's going to go up every single aisle up, and she's going to check the clearance section. She's going to go to Lawn and Garden. She don't even need nothing from Lawn and Garden, but she just want to see what's over there, right? So I think that when it comes to problem solving, initially, we react emotionally. So therefore, we're tossing all these different things around, right? Like, okay, if I do it this way, what's the outcome? If I do it that way, and I don't even like that way. Like, we're just going through things emotion. And I'm saying this as a woman because I'm a woman and I do this now, but I do this like privately. And then I go to my husband and I say, hey, this is the problem that I have. This is what I think we should do, or I should do, whatever the case may be. What do you think? Now, my husband, he might break it down in 3 steps, but I had to go through 10 steps to get to the same conclusion that he made. We might have the same conclusion, but I went through 10 steps and he was like, well, you could have just did 1, 2, and 3. And I'll be like, damn, you're right.
Yep.
I
No,
wasted
you're
all
right.
this time overthinking and all this other stuff. So that's why, like, as a wife and as a woman, I learned a lot of times that when I feel like overwhelmed or something like that, I go to my husband because I know that he's gonna cut that to the 3 instead of me stressing times 10, if that
Right.
makes sense.
Right.
So it doesn't mean that we're not solution based, that we can't come up with our solutions. I think we just kind of roller coaster through our solutions, where men are more 1, 2, 3 instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Oh yeah. Listen, when I say my statement, I'm talking about the absolute root-based level of things, right? This is things that don't need to be taught. Now, as you know, men mature, they start to understand more nuances and they start to actually take more steps in solving problems so that it's a more complete solution, right? So they actually start to emulate a more feminine approach to solving their problems. And as women mature, hopefully, right, same with men, is that they learn how to package their problem identification in a more succinct, acceptable way that can be handed off to a man to be able to solve the problem. Now, again, it's about maturity and maturing into that concept, right? So the man actually becomes more feminine and the woman becomes a little bit more masculine as they deal with each other and figure each other out. So, but at the base level, you have to remember we start in different corners. And we have to, it's from that very ugly, unrefined, carbon shaped diamond that we're starting from. And we need to slowly chisel ourselves so that we can eventually fit into each other appropriately. I mean, but if you start denying the base instincts, then it becomes a problem.
I guess the reason I brought that up is because there was a situation. I'm not going to get into details because it's private, but there was a situation that I was going through, and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to bother Billy with this. He work all day. I can't handle this. This ain't nothing. And I was trying to handle it, and a couple of months had went by, and I was stressed out. I wasn't myself. And then so finally I was like, okay, I can't handle this by myself. Let me talk to my husband. And when I told him the situation and what was going on, he had it solved in 2 days. So I was sitting here for 2 months trying to handle it on my own because I was trying to
accommodate everything. One thing I realized whenever I talk to women about their problems, usually what the biggest issue that they have is they try to accommodate everything. They're not really willing to cut losses and say, all right, this doesn't need to be taken care of. That doesn't need to be taken care of. Because, there's this concept of making everything good instead of focusing on that one issue.
Well, this one issue, like I said, for the most part, it was, I don't need to bother him with this. He works all day. He got enough on his plate. I can deal with this. And like I said, some time went by and then I realized, I'm like, you know what? I can't handle this by myself. And then when I went to him, it was like it was resolved within a week. Like it was resolved in the first 2 days, but then the aftermath, like the end result, like a week it was done. It was done and over with. And so I really sat down and I self-reflected and I was like, well, shit, had I just went to him in the first place, I've been sitting here stressed, trying to deal with this situation for 2 months, and I could have just went to him. And that opened up a whole nother level in my marriage to where now I don't, and it wasn't even hiding. Let me be very clear for anybody listening. It wasn't hiding something from him. It was just merely that I just didn't want to bother him with it because I thought that I could handle it. But as soon as I realized I could not handle it, I did go to my husband, and that was an eye opener for me. So now, I self-reflected and I said, well, from moving on, moving forward, I will never ever try to do that again. If I have a problem, I don't care how big or small it may seem, I'm going to go to my husband and I'm going to let him know what's going on, because I reacted emotionally, he reacted logically. And he had it resolved in a week, where I was sitting here for 2 months stressing about it.
Mm. And I think it's like that analogy where you have that ball of yarn, and you have and you compare how a woman thinks, or how she goes about addressing the issue. It's the string is all over the place. It's all over the place, all over the place. Basically what Jessica just said. But then you see the guys, it'll probably be one point, another point, and like you said, you got it solved in 3 different steps or whatever. And the woman is all over the place, because she's considering this and she's considering that and she's thinking about this. How does she feel about that? Maybe I feel like this. You know what? I don't feel, maybe, just maybe. Da, 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 da. And it's just like, I'm just gonna connect the dots in a way that seems logical to me. I'm not gonna sit there and be talking about my feelings. My feelings ain't got nothing to do with what the problem is.
We lock them up. We lock them up because they're stumbling blocks. Right?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Because it's a distraction for us. So we want to sit there and say, okay, this red block, go over here to this little red thing right here, and this little red thing over here looks like it belongs to this red block. So let me see if we can put these 3 together and see what it comes out with. So we try to make sense of what we see in front of us and stuff like that. So that's how we go about problem solving. We're not ever going to say, well, we figure everything out all the time. No, but we have a certain straightaway strategy that we go about making sure we solve the problem.
Yeah, we use a very consistent methodology
So,
that has proven to work. And then we consistently try to improve on that methodology over and over again based on each problem that we come across.
Well, I shared that because, just in case anybody's watching and they're going through something, if you, hopefully you trust your spouse, your partner who you're with, don't always try to take everything on yourself, especially as a woman, especially if it's something that is emotionally. I'm not talking about like a bill. This was something a little deeper. If there's something emotionally involved and you can sit back and realize that you're reacting emotionally, and you have that man in your corner, that husband or part, whatever you want to call him, because we know we call him all type of things these days, go to him. Because 9 times out of 10, you're probably over worrying yourself. You're probably stressing yourself out for nothing. This was a situation where he could have actually gotten mad at me, and he didn't. Matter of fact, he was like, well, why didn't you tell me? And I was like, babe, you work all the time. I just figured I can handle this myself. And he was like, don't do that no more. He said, we could have had this solved. No wonder you've been so distant and quiet, because you were stressed out. Now I understand why you were like a little off. And, so if you have somebody in your corner that you can trust, don't try to handle it yourself. If he really cares about you and loves you, he's going to give you the answer. It might not be the answer you want to hear. Maybe it's going to be exactly the answer you want to hear. For me, it was exactly what I needed, because I was overthinking. I was like Dedrick said, well, what about this? And if I do this, how's that going to work? And well, I feel this way and I feel that way. And it was like, once he stepped into the picture, it was like, boom, 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 it's done. And I was like, oh shit, I done stressed myself out for nothing. So go to your man, because he got you.
Yeah, one thing men are really good at is saying, I don't like this, but I know it needs to get done. Like it's not, this is assumption. I know I did say it earlier that we lock up our feelings. I mean, that's virtually impossible to do, but we do a pretty good concept of, we do a good job of segregating ourselves from our feelings.
Compartmentalizing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to find a good word for the word separate, but really, you can never really get rid of it because it sneaks up on you, right?
Well, I gave you the word.
Yeah,
Compartmentalizing.
yeah, but Compartmentalized, it seems like, completely detached still.
No, that's not what completely detached means. This the compartmentalize. I put this in its place until I need it. I put this in its place because if I don't need to use this over here, now I can just focus on this. That's
No,
what. That's all compartmentalization is. That's all it is. It's just making sure you have everything in its proper place for when you need it, or whatever the case. And if you don't need it, it's over there. So that's all that is.
no, like I said, I fully agree with that. But let's be real. Let's say you're trying to solve a really problem that is
Mhm.
as much as well as you compartmentalize.
Mhm.
Those emotions sneak out of the spot they.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. As much as we want to say that we can completely lock it up, it's not like we're completely detached from it either, right? So sometimes it sneaks in there and it clouds the vision. But you done made me forget what I was going to say with the whole compartmentalization.
But listen, at the end of the day, and I think we've had these conversations before. We all have our strengths and our weaknesses. So, for example, he may have helped me in that situation, but then like there are other times where he had something going on, and I'm like, "Hey, babe,
Mhm.
let's talk about this." And I give my input, and what he does with it is what he does with it.
Mhm. Yeah.
So we have our strengths and our weaknesses, and we're supposed to balance one another. That's why it's supposed to be a husband and a wife, and we do what the hell we do. Whether it comes to child raising, especially with children, because men and women raise children differently, even in a two-parent household. We are more nurturing and caring, and the father is the more structure and discipline. And sometimes we as women, as mothers, I know I've had to do it. I'm like, hey, can you not kill him, please? Can we talk about this? Yeah, don't kill him. So let's talk about this. He did XYZ. Let's figure out a better way to go about that. And respectfully, he says, you know what? That makes more sense. Now, at the same token, if he says, no, I am about to fuck him up, and I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and go for a ride so I don't have to hear that part. I'll be back in 30 minutes. Can you get it done in 30 minutes? Right? I will never ever tell my husband how to discipline his kids. But again, we discuss those types of things. So there's definitely a balance that where we solve problems. I may solve problems differently, and he has noticed that sometimes I am actually freaking right. And he's like, you know
Mhm.
what? That did work better than what
Absolutely.
I was gonna do.
Listen,
And then there are other times he's like, nope, this is what I'm doing. And I'm like, all right, cool, no problem.
yeah, like I said, that problem solving engine, once it kicks in, so like the concept of whether we're right is only for the purpose of solving the problem, not dealing or stroking our ego. You want a man to put away his ego, have him solve the problem. He's gonna put the ego away as soon as he possibly can, because he knows his ego will get in the way of solving the problem. If anything, he'll use his ego to force him to solve the problem, and he doesn't care where the good idea comes from. Like he knows there's no monopoly on good ideas.
Mhm.
He's trying to find it. I think one aspect where women, could use some help in maturing into is actually doing better at identifying what problems, what are actually problems that they're going to bring to the men in their life. Because a lot of times, women say, "I have a problem," when they don't really have a problem. They just want to vent. They just want to, sounding board. They just want to do all these things, and they don't appropriately package it. Right? Remember how vicious of a system the problem solving mechanism that's in men. Once you decide that you turn that machine on in a man, he's gonna bulldoze through whatever the emotional connection you're trying to establish at that time.
But I think too is that you have to. Well, I've been with Billy for 16 years now. So Billy kind of knows when I want a solution or when I just want to talk. That
Right.
makes sense.
Makes sense.
So there. Granted, I'm a stay at home. I don't been about it. I don't even talk a lot. I talk to y'all more than I talk to Billy probably.
No wonder Billy's so happy.
But like, let's say I have an issue, he can kind of already identify, okay, she needs a solution.
Right.
So he goes into solution mode, like, okay, well, what? Let's do this or let's do that, and boom, 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 and I'm on this, and you take care of that. And then there's other times that I notice that he'll just sit there and he'll just listen because he realizes that she just really wants to vent. And look, and hold on, and to say, hold on, right? Because now Billy loves to talk. He talks more than me. Damn Cowboys fans, they always talking. He talks more than me. Yeah, and sometimes I have to look at him and I know he just wants to vent. And I just let him vent. Now, but there are other times where, how can I put it? I don't think that he's necessarily looking for a solution to his issue, but he's looking for input. So I say, well, hey, babe, have you ever tried this? Or maybe this would work? You know, and then he's like, you know what, that is a pretty good idea. He said, I might go ahead and try that. You know, so it's also a thing about knowing your partner, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
And I don't disagree with what you're saying, and like I said, no disrespect to how your situation is going, because it works for you. I'm not in it. So you do y'all. But even what you're saying in the beginning of what you said was he kind of knows whether I'm looking for this and looking for that. So automatically he's putting the burden on him to figure it out. Right? So, you know, a lot of our young relationships out here that haven't been in it for 12, 15 years and don't know each other in the beginnings of everything, and they're trying to figure out how to communicate with each other. This is a common thing.
Right? Oh yeah, I definitely don't recommend this in the early stages of a relationship.
Right. Oh, that's what I'm trying not to speak on the final product. We're talking about the final product.
Yeah.
And that's where you want to end up. That's the finish line. That's where you want to end up when you get to your communication style. But the beginning of it, you can't tell your left foot from your right foot when you're trying to run this race.
Yeah.
Right? So in identifying that left foot of the woman identifying what is it that she's going to offer to her man as for that emotional connection or a problem-solving session. He needs to be able to actually separate those two, which is kind of counterintuitive for her. So that way that man doesn't have to carry that burden, right? Because you're starting with the original piece. Now, eventually, the man gets to the point where he's going to recognize what type of way you're communicating to him and be able to carry that it becomes another problem-solving session for him. So now, she's talking this way. So now he goes into a problem-solving mode, which is his strength. He'll be able to tell, she's trying to think. She's trying to think. But instead of automatically assuming he's going to be able to do that, because he has to learn how to do that.
No, I agree. Like I said, let me be clear. This is not something I recommend for a new couple. I've been with this man for 16 years. So I kind of know. And I was going to say, you know, again, it's the same where I know when he just wants to vent. I know when he's kind of like looking for some other solution because he's trying to figure it out in his mind. Let's say something in school, for example. There's something going on in school. There's a policy. Let's just use something like that. And I say, hey, well, won't y'all try this? Or won't y'all try that? And he'd be like, well, we kind of already tried that when it didn't work. Okay, well, how about y'all try it this way, but reverse? You know, I'm just saying, like, you can kind of gauge. But again, I don't recommend this for people that just started dating. No, people need to be transparent with their intention on what it is that they're looking for. I'm a different breed of person. Like I said, I don't vent a lot. I don't talk a lot. I don't argue. I don't have many issues. So, and 9 times out of 10, we're usually on the same page anyways. You know, so I don't have those issues as much as other people may have those issues. But in the times that we do have them, we've just gotten to a point where we already know. And even before that, you know, I would say, look, I don't want a solution. I just want to talk. I just need to get this off my chest. And sometimes that can help too. Now I know y'all men are still gonna go into solution mode, but at least she's being forward with you and say, I don't really want a solution. Sarah went and ate my lunch and it pissed me off. And then Becky did this and Karen did that. And I just wanted to vent and get it off my chest.
Just to clarify something, like, in society, we always, it's easy for us to accept that women perceive pretty much their entire experience through emotions, right? It's kind of emotion first. And, there's no pushback from that. If anything, we're told that we need to accept that and hold that to it. But when we start saying that men come at things through a logical, solution-based system first, that is our base mechanism of interacting with the world. It shouldn't be diminished, right? Similar to how when women are having their hormonal issues, they're asked from society to be kind, gentle, accommodating, right? But for some reason, when the testosterone hits men, we're not. Then there's no kind, being gentle, being accommodating. It's you better handle that. That's your problem. You better fix it, or you need to figure it out, right? So, the way we approach the world needs to be met with an appropriate set of accommodations, or else it's not a real partnership.
But the only way that can happen is if we start. Because look, some of it was done is done. Only thing you can do is start with your kids that you got today.
I have no idea what that means.
Well, what I mean is, it's already been imprinted in the majority of society. Like you said, let's use your example. So let's say I'm going through my woman phase, right? I don't need to be catered to or anything. Just leave me the fuck alone. That's, well, at least in my house, that's what it is. If I say, hey, it's that time, and they be like, oh man, let me leave mom alone. They know to leave me the hell alone, So it's not a thing of that I need to be coddled or catered to or anything like that. But I also don't take it out on people. I don't know. It's just.
You're talking about you. You're talking about you. Let's talk about the general. Yeah. Let's talk about the general woman.
Well, I'm the only woman up here. I got to try to defend women somehow. Shoot.
Why is it that you feel like you have to defend women? Nobody's.
I got to at least speak because we go through some things that y'all do not understand. But for myself personally, hold on. Right. For myself personally, when I go through those things, I may have an attitude. I may tell you, get out my face. But at the end of the day, I don't expect for you to coddle to me or bow down to me because I'm a woman, and vice versa. Like, that's me. And a lot of women are actually like that. But I don't deal with a lot of women, so I can only speak for me and the women that I know.
Again, example.
But I'm a woman, so I gotta speak up at least for the women too. Come on, now.
Fair enough. Okay, let's just talk about the extremes of the hormonal spectrum, right? You're more towards the center of this hormonal spectrum. So let's talk about the far left side of a woman that's super hormonal, doesn't really have good mechanisms and coping mechanisms to kind of control her behaviors during that thing. We're still expected to be like, all right, she's really having a bad situation. Everybody get around. Hey baby, do you need some candy? Do you need some food? We all see what's going on, right? This is obviously this other side of the spectrum. But somewhere along the line, we're expected to always understand that this woman needs some special attention or lack thereof during that time. Nonetheless, the accommodation is necessary. Now, if we take everything over to the other side, men, you don't get that. When the testosterone is surging in men, and men need to do men things, and men need to go step outside, take a break, decompress, remove themselves from situations, it's not easily accepted or understood or accommodated for.
Well, like you said, maybe that's why Billy's so happy because I don't bother him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that very concept. That very concept. Like a man says, you know what? I need some space. I need some time. How often do you hear men say this in relationships? I need some space. I need some time. And the women are not having it. No. You get no space.
I haven't heard that. I haven't heard that in 16 years. So
because he doesn't need it, because he gets it. He gets enough of it.
You're damn right. Get the hell away from me. Go away.
Right.
Go hunting. I'd be like, don't you want to go hunt or something? Like, don't you got something to do? Go. But no, seriously though. Like, there are times where I do literally have to push Billy out the door. Billy is a homebody. He's family, homebody. He goes to work, he comes home. That is it. You know, and there's been times I'm like, yo, won't you call Kerm and them and won't y'all hook up and go to Buffalo Wild Wings, watch the boxing fight or do something. Go hunting with your dad and whatever.
That's why I wish I was closer. So we go to some game rooms, some axe throwing, we do a whole lot of stuff.
Well, you ain't that far. We gonna meet up soon. You ain't that far.
Y'all still talking about that meetup? Y'all gonna be talking about this meetup forever.
Well, that was not forever. It's in 4 months. All right. Oh man.
But yeah, no, you gotta give men their space too. And Billy has all the space in the world, as far as I'm concerned. Besides work, I don't bother him, and he don't bother me. You know, if I see he's in a bad mood, I check on him. Right? Don't get me wrong. I don't just be like, oh, he's in a bad mood, or he doesn't seem right. He seems a little off. Let me leave him alone. I'm like, hey, babe, you all right? He's like, yeah, I'm just tired. I'm like, all right, cool. All right, hey, y'all, keep it down. Your dad trying to take a nap. He's tired. You know? Or if he wants to go somewhere, I don't be like, oh my God, where are you going? Why are you leaving? No, go have fun, enjoy it. Go for a ride. I don't care what you do. Go clean the car if you want to. I don't care. Because he likes doing that. Yeah. And hell, like I always say, hell, if he want to cut grass in the rain, maybe he just needs that time.
Yep.
I might think it's stupid that you cutting the grass in the rain, but maybe you just need that time. Go ahead.
I mean, listen, and these are these hormonal things that we do. We're not cyclical, right? There's something that happens in our environment. It kicks on the hormonal situation, and we have to go through a process. We just have to, right? You know, every man has a different way of doing it. Usually, it's done in isolation. We have to isolate to a certain degree to get our mind right, so that we can actually do what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Right, but the thing is, I know, but the thing is, in a lot of relationships, the fact that a man is doing that, the woman sees it as he's trying to disconnect from you. She sees it as threatening. She sees it as a problem. She sees it as an issue in the relationship. She sees it as an issue with her. He doesn't love you know. This is the whole catastrophizing that happens simply because she doesn't want to accommodate his hormonal situation.
Well, that must be in the beginning of the relationship, because after 16 years, when your husband leave you the hell alone, you happy.
I tell you what, I saw a video where the dude received a phone call from his homeboy, and he was about to get out of the car, and she grabbed him. What you doing? You can't talk right here. What y'all got to talk about so much that you can't talk? First of all, that's his homeboy. All their business ain't your business. Mind your business and leave that man alone and let him go talk in peace. Like, what, you got separation anxiety or something? Like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, that don't make sense. Like when I see certain things, I'm just like, I can't understand. Like, what's the problem? Like with that, like I saw a pop the balloon thing, and the guy says that sometimes on his spare time he plays video games. Oh. He got like 4 pops.
Yep.
He popped the balloon immediately. Now, my thing is, and all of them had the same gripe, but I don't know. I ain't really into video games like that. First of all, he plays video games. Nobody said you were supposed to be into it. then on top of that, then another one says, well, men play video games. I just think that's childish. What? Okay. Then another one says, well, the video the game thing just kind of threw me off. I just did. I you know, I had a guy who spent all day on the video games, and it really affected our relationship.
Yeah, and
Okay.
you're him now.
Okay. So my question was, I asked Rhonda the same question. I said, why do they always assume the worst? They go always to the extreme. And that man can't have an hour, maybe even two, to play his video games, to unwind, decompress, and just chill out and have that time for himself. He's not out clubbing. He's not out running the street. He's not out doing nothing destructive to anybody else. But you can't get this man 2 hours for himself?
Facts.
What is wrong with you?
Facts.
Like, and then on top of that, sometimes it seems like if a man has some kind of peace, it irritates a woman.
So what the question is the wrong question, because you said, what is wrong with you? I know you were asking.
No, that was rhetorical.
Yeah, no, I know you asked rhetorically, but it is a real question that people ask. You know, what's wrong with this chick, right? That's what we ask when we're in this situation. The reality, there's nothing wrong with it. The issue is that she's immature, and she hasn't developed the maturity to be able to understand that this man operates differently than I do, right? The concept of that man having to do, he wants a certain time where he can do nothing. That is not how women function at all.
Well, like I said, I guess I'm
completely different from me, and they can't accept that. They, you know, men have the same problem. They see women as men with a vagina.
What?
Men see women as men with a vagina.
No.
Hold on. Let me take the whole thing in.
Men see women as men with vaginas.
Yeah. Because we expect women to operate like men.
No, we don't.
I would hope y'all don't.
No, listen, when it comes to certain things, okay. Why do you think these communication issues happen? There's certain aspects of female nature or feminine nature that's attractive. Okay, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the actual context of what we're talking about. Okay, this context of communication and how we operate in this realm. We expect women to act like men. Like, what do you mean? This is clearly the problem. Why can't you see this? Why can't you reason with me in this point in time? We expect them to operate like men in that realm. In the same sense, in the same exact realm, women expect men to operate like women in that same realm.
Well, real quick before I lose my thought, when we talk about like the video games, there are some men that really OD on video games. I've heard the stories where like they go to work all day, they come home, take off their stank shoes, plop down on the couch or in the gaming chair, and then they're on the gaming chair, they not helping with the kids, they ain't cutting no grass, they ain't did nothing. Now those types I don't agree with.
Right.
No, I don't want no man that's all they do.
Right.
Okay. Right. But if you come home from work, like Billy plays video games with the boys all the time. Brawlhalla,
my boys got me on Brawlhalla,
Madden, and the basketball one, 2K, whatever. I don't know. I don't play video games.
NBA 2K.
You know, but that's his downtime. I don't go up there and be like, "Oh my God, you didn't cut the grass," or "Oh my God, oh shit, they didn't take out the trash." I gotta tell them to take out the trash. I just thought about that.
Me too. I gotta do the same thing.
Oh damn! Well, they could take it out in the morning before school. But anyways, you know, I don't complain about that. But here's the thing, and this is what I have said to some people, that some women who have mentioned that, and I'm like, but I see you on Facebook all the time. So you can scroll your Facebook and do what you do, but he can't have an hour or two to just come home and decompress and play on the video games.
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong with that?
Again, it comes down to that paradigm. Like women, you said like she was on Facebook. Women when it comes to their downtime, it's usually encompassing other people. It's usually encompassing a social setting. It's usually encompassing some type of interaction with other people, right? So it's gonna be on Facebook. She's gonna be on the phone with her friends. These are her downtimes through connections. Sometimes a connection. That's what she's gonna use as her downtime. And that's what she sees as absolutely normal. Men's downtime is the exact opposite. Isolation. They want to isolate. They want to separate. They want to disconnect. This is how we do our downtime. But so for us, for women looking at that, like, what are you doing? You're wasting time. When a man sees her on the phone all the time, talking to her girls, talking to this person, talking to that, what are you doing? These people don't care about you.
Well, as I've always said, I guess I have to start identifying as a man because none of that stuff applies to me. Play your video games. I do not care.
Last long on this podcast is because you're very different. You think the yelling you do at me would be anywhere as much if you were normal? You'd be yelling at me a lot more.
Well, here's the thing. What you got? That's the reason why when you're addressing women issues and men issues, you always have to say some women. You can't ever say women in general because every woman ain't built that way. And stuff like that. Because some women they really love their peace, and that's why sometimes they go on their own little trip by themselves. A lot of women they want to decompress from everything else they have to do. You got women who are bosses. You got women who are business owners. You got all that. They ain't trying to be in nobody else's face all the time. So it's the same thing with some men. Some men are social creatures. I'm not an introvert at all. I'm an extrovert, but I don't go out as much as I used to. But that doesn't mean I don't like being among people. I love people and being around festive environments and different things like that. I love just doing things. However, I do value my peace. When I can have my peace, I love my peace. So you're not 100% wrong. It's just that I would just change it to say some women, some men, because a lot there are some men who are active social in the social scenes and stuff like that. That's not the majority, but that's also not. I think it's in the middle kind of where you have those type of men and stuff like that. Because if they got something cool to do, they prefer to do some cool stuff. But with women, with some women, I don't think that they just got to be on the phone all the time. A lot of women ain't gossipy women. A lot
Listen,
of them, because Rhonda is not a gossipy woman. She ain't on the phone all day. She don't do that. You know what I'm saying? She's a different type of woman. Same thing with Jessica here, and a few women that I know. That they're just not always attached because I'm gonna tell you, they don't like other women for the most part.
Liking them is irrelevant.
I was
It's not
about to
irrelevant.
say.
It's not irrelevant because they ain't gonna be on the phone with people they don't like.
I am never on the. I am not lying to you. This show is the longest time that I spend on the phone every week.
Okay.
I do not. Hold on. I do not talk to my friends on the phone. If my family, and when I do, it's probably, hey, what are we doing for Monica's birthday? Okay, blah 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 blah. All right, talk to you later. I don't have friends that I gossip with. I sit out here with my chickens and I mind my damn business. I'm not one of those types of people. So having said that, because I'm an introvert. I'm not an extrovert. I'm an introvert. I like to be by myself. Even within my own family. And luckily they give me that time to myself. And you guys see that every Thursday, right? They don't bother me for the most part. I get my time. That's mommy's time, and we afford the same thing to my husband and even my children. That's your time. Everybody needs their space and their time, So I'm not one of these attached women to where I got to know what you're doing, know who you're talking to, know where you're going every single moment of the day. No, I don't need to know all that because guess what? You know where to find me. You know exactly where I'm going to be. When you're done, that's where I'm going to be. Love you. Mwah. See you when you get back or see you when you wake up from your nap or whatever you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But with Billy also, most of the times I know exactly he's going fishing, he's going hunting, he's at work, but then you do have, unfortunately, and I'm gonna speak for on behalf of women, even though it's not my situation, you do have a lot of men out here that go out here and maybe they're not spending their time wisely. By
Right.
wisely, you know what I mean.
Right.
So it builds that insecurity or those trust issues
Yeah.
to where they feel that they have to bring up, like, well, why do you need time to yourself? Why do every time I turn around, you need time to yourself? Is there
That makes
more
sense.
going on
Yeah.
than just time to yourself?
Yeah.
So we have to be fair in that.
That's true. Very true. That's
Now,
very
let
true.
me say, if you got a good man and you know that's not what he's doing, leave that man alone and let him hang out with his boys and talk about boxing and stuff that you not interested in. He can't talk to you about that stuff. Let him release his
Absolutely.
testosterone.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
if you got a man that's out there doing a little wrong, I can't even really be mad at you, sis.
Yeah. That's a
But
totally
I need you
different
to
thing.
get out that situation.
Yeah. That's a totally different situation right there, because you do have a legit point on that. Because if you're giving her a reason to be questioning you and feeling insecure about what's going on and why you insist upon spending time away from her instead of with her and stuff, that's a wholly different situation, because he set that up now. He's set her up to feel that way. So I can't defend that kind of situation. But if you're doing what you're supposed to do, you haven't done anything to give her a reason to doubt you and stuff like that, like Jessica said, like, relax, chill out. He ain't trying to look to disturb his peace. Relax. Let be a part of that peace. And I hate when people say you got to be his peace or be my peace. No, I don't want nobody to be my peace. Be a part of that peace. Because my thing is once she's gone, or she's what you gonna do now? Are you gonna be totally destroyed because you don't have your peace there to be your peace? Like you have to, make sure that's said correctly, because again, we have to give each other space, and stuff like that. Because I'm tell you, I don't like to be smothered. I mean, not unless it's in a good way. Anyway, but my thing is,
So focus, Cookie Man, focus.
but my thing is, man, when you have somebody who needs you to be around them, who needs this, who's so that's smothering and it's irritating. Yeah, like I need you to have your thing going on. I'm gonna have my thing going on. We're gonna come together in the middle. And we good because we got a healthy balance of you time, me time, us time. You know what I'm saying? So it's that's how I look at it. You need to have your own stuff going on. And if I haven't given you any reason to doubt me or my word or whatever it is that I'm doing, we good. Like you shouldn't be tripping.
I mean, none of the things y'all are saying is incorrect. No, I disagree with them. But I guess my question is, how do you guys feel about stereotypes?
In what aspect?
Well, if you hear a stereotype about, they say, all Haitians know voodoo. How do you feel about that?
Oh wait, what?
Like if I said a stereotype like all Haitians know voodoo,
Oh.
right? How would you feel about that? Like
Well,
how
I
is
feel like
that?
I feel like stereotypes come from a place. They have a root someplace.
Okay.
However, I don't feel like all stereotypes are accurate, because now you carry this over generationally. Now you carry this over, and what you tell people about Haitians or about men or about whatever the situation is, or black women, black men, whatever. All of us don't fit into that same mold.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even bother. I feel like you might know more about voodoo than I do,
Mm-hmm.
because you know what I'm saying, that I mean it's something that through history we know that is attached to Haitian folks or whatever the case is. That's what I've grown up knowing, and that's how I've talked to Haitian people, and they told me some stuff about it. I can say the same thing for New Orleans. You know what I'm saying? But again, it's basically based off of what people feed you or what you know. Now, because if you don't experience it firsthand, it's all it is a stereotype. I haven't confirmed it or anything like that. Now, if I talk to you and you tell me something different, now that stereotype has been broken in my mind because I say, okay, well, it's not what I thought it was, so I can look at it in a different way. You know what I'm saying? So that's just an example. But I just feel like stereotypes are what they are until it's broken because a lot of times stereotypes are not accurate.
So, I mean, when I said the phrase, all Haitians know voodoo, if someone had said that to me, I would have said, no, that's inaccurate. But if you had said, oh, Haitians know voodoo, I'd be like, that's a generalization, and it's an acceptable generalization, right? Like, because the generalizations come and stereotypes kind of coincide, right? So I've noticed I get this pushback from you guys when I'll say women this, men that, right?
Okay.
And the criticism is like, oh, say some, say many,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But I'm speaking in generalization terms, right? And that kind of coincides with certain stereotypes that are also rooted in people's experiences and the general consensus of what people actually see and experience themselves, right? So in the same sense when I say Haitians know voodoo,
okay,
I'm not going to disagree with that. And I know it's not all. Does that make sense?
Well, we also have to be careful because we're on a channel on YouTube too. So we have to make sure that we are saying some or generally.
Not all. Before I say
yeah.
Well, you
So
didn't originally say that.
We do have to be careful for the audience, and not just that for YouTube as well. Okay. But I mean, that's no different than like stereotypes. That'd be like me saying all black people are thugs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or all women are hoes.
Mm-hmm.
See how I extended that? All black women wear wigs.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's why
you still have to differentiate.
Yeah.
So that's why whenever I said what I said, I never said all. But there's also this, it seems like you guys add all as if I'm saying it.
But no,
because you'll say women and you won't say some.
Right. Because it's a difference. You have to understand. If you say Haitians know voodoo, first of all, you're from Haiti. Do you know voodoo?
See, I know of voodoo. I don't know.
But you prove my point. This is what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say, if I say Haitians know voodoo, you're Haitian.
Yeah.
You don't know voodoo. You know of voodoo, but you don't know voodoo. So I can't say Haitians know voodoo. I can say some Haitians know voodoo, but and I will be accurate 100% of the time. That's why I always encourage people when they're talking about men, when they're talking about women, when they're talking about anything in general terms, say some. Some you'll be accurate 100% of the time. It's not that I feel like you mean all, but when you say it, it encompasses all. That's just like when women are talking trash about black men. First of all, I'm a black man. I know I don't fit into the mold that they just said, but I always correct them. You're not going to lump all of us in one basket as if we all are homogenized in thinking. We all think this way because we're black men. No, you need to say some men, or say the men that I have experience with, or say the men that I've talked to. Say something that that helps you say not all men, but say it in such a way to say some men. Because like I said, if you say some, you will be accurate 100% of the time.
And that's my problem. It's like that. Well, that's my problem with that word "some," though, right? Because you'll be accurate 100%, literally with anything. You can say some dogs are murderers, and you'll be accurate 100% of the time. Like there's nothing you cannot say and not be accurate 100% of the time. You know what I'm saying? If there's any probability of that ever happening, you'll be accurate 100%. So that's why it's not a very distinctive. It's too all encompassing.
No, not really, because some is not all encompassing.
No, when you use the phrasing, it's all encompassing. The word some is not all encompassing. But when
No,
you use that, when you use the phrasing, you can literally say some and almost anything after that, and you will be 100% accurate.
that's what I. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
But that's what makes it not very useful. Like
Why?
this.
Why?
Why?
So hold on, wait, real quick. I'm on the phone with two black men that I actually respect. Okay, and I know y'all background and history from our conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I saw Tyrone up the street shooting, and then I saw y'all two, and let's say I didn't know you, would it be fair for me to stereotype you as Tyrone that just robbed 7-Eleven? That wouldn't be fair. So I would have to say some black men out here acting a fool. Not all black men are. Some black women are out here, have multiple baby mamas, and some black women are married to their children's father and been married to him for 16 years.
Well, I guess
so again, you just got to be careful with the wording. It doesn't mean that, it doesn't change the way you feel, but you still got to be careful with your wording because that's how stereotypes are.
All right, so let's take some black men out here acting a fool. I can literally replace anything after some and before acting a fool with anything. Some dogs out here acting a fool, and I'll be accurate. I can say some black women out here acting a fool, and I'll be accurate. I can say some Russians out here acting a fool, and I'll be accurate. I can say whatever in between that, and I will be accurate. That's why I'm saying it's not very useful when you're trying to actually communicate something or an idea, because it doesn't actually it makes everything completely equal.
No, no. Hold on, wait, real quick. So I'm a part of a lot of political groups, right? I'm into politics. Anybody that knows me knows that. Now, mind you, being a part of a lot of those political groups, I run across a lot of white people. And some of those white people, they be saying some stuff.
Yeah.
And so I remember one post. They were talking about racist things. So me with my bold self, I said, hey, I didn't say dare. I said, I got a question for y'all. I said, do you hate, because they were talking about the N-word fatigue, not black fatigue, but the N-word fatigue.
Right.
And I said, so let me ask y'all a question. I said, do you actually hate black people or do you hate the N-words?
Mm-hmm.
And I got so many responses in where they were saying, no, I don't hate black people. I got black friends, black co-workers, black family. My daughter's married to a black man. I got a biracial child. You know what I do hate? I hate the N-words.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that goes to stereotyping. So when you look at the N-words, right, that's acting a fool, and then we're all well, I'm fairly lighter, but let's talk about y'all. Y'all are darker than me. So let's say Maurice is a thug in the street and Dedrick is the cookie man. Now the cookie man, he just want to sell his cookies.
Run your cookies.
Maurice is the thug. When they see Dedrick, what are they gonna think if after they had an encounter with the thug? They're gonna think that the man selling the cookies is the same thing. That's what builds the stereotype. And you can't really be mad at stereotypes sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
Because we put ourselves in a position to be stereotyped through our actions.
Yeah.
So now we have to disprove that we're not that type of person. Like, hey, how you doing? No, wait, I'm not here to steal a wig. I'm not here to shoot you. I'm not here to what? I'm being honest. I'm not here to shoplift. I came for some medicine. Where's your medicine located? So stereotypes, it sucks, but at the same time, in certain aspects, you can't be mad at the stereotypes because of the actions of others.
And to that point, to your point, every day I encounter white people every day, but how I approach them matters. How I go about talking to them matters. Because when I approach them, introducing them to my brand and all this other stuff, I approach them in such a way that, okay, if you've seen whatever on the news or whatever, and it's always black this, black that, or whatever, then you meet me with a pleasant demeanor. I'm not this threatening, brooding black person. Guess what? Their stereotype has been broken. For if not just for that moment, their
Mm-hmm.
stereotype has been broken. So, for me, they can't go and say, "Well, black people this and black people that," because they already know there's good black people out there who are not threatening, who are not belligerent, who are not loud, who are not this, that, and the third that they might see on the internet, let's say, and social media and stuff like that. We're not we're not the same people. Like she said, you got the N word. That's a whole nother behavioral pattern. You got black folks who just trying to be black folks and be decent human beings, going about their life and take care of their families and all that other stuff and minding their business. So there's a difference. So you can't, just because you don't put all in front of a word doesn't mean that just because you just use the word itself, you can't say that, okay, well, that doesn't include all people. Well, go ahead and preface that and then say what you got to say. But at the same time, the save yourself for having to talk all those words, just put some in front of it. Some takes care of all of that. It does not make everything equal. It doesn't, because some and the minority, some is a minority. So some is some. But when you say all, that's a majority. So it's not the same thing. It's not an equal situation. So
See,
it does it does bring your point to what it is, because it validates what you're saying, because it's true. Some people do this, or some people do that. So when you say some, it absolutely makes it absolutely true. So if you just say women do this, we all know women who don't do those specific types things. So it wouldn't be accurate at all. That's what I was getting at. And what because
no, it's not that I don't understand where you're getting at.
yeah.
I do understand what you're getting at. I if I was to use a modifier, it would be the word most rather than some.
Okay.
Because the model again.
But that's not true. Most is not true.
Right.
The ratchet and the ghetto.
No. I was talking about.
Hold on, wait. The ratchet, the ghetto, the crazy is usually the minority.
I know you answered a different thing. You're trying to answer the whole black thing, right? Because that wasn't anything.
No, I said an etc. Ratchet, ghetto. You could be trailer trash. I don't care. Those are the minority of people. It doesn't necessarily have to be black.
When I was talking about the word most, it was in reference to the stereotypes or the generalizations I was speaking about regarding men and women.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and most women, no. Now this one you're gonna get pushed back on. Okay. Most women are not what you say they are. It is the minority of women that are those ways. Matter of fact, I can give you a great example. What did Kevin Samuels say all the time? And this is one of them that I agreed with. I don't remember it verbatim, but the men that were dealing with the women, right? They dealt with the same people over and over again. So it wasn't a majority of people that was out there doing wrong and having babies with different fathers and mothers. Okay. It was the same. Hold on. It was the same people. So it's a minority of people that are holding other people down and and giving them a bad name in the stereotype. The majority of people, whether white, black, Asian, Indian, brown, Mexican, they out here minding their business, working, paying their bills. The minority is only loud because the world loves negativity and drama. So that's what we see. But the majority are minding their business and doing what they're supposed to be doing. So when you say most, even that is not accurate to me. That's why I say some is in the middle. It can be a little bit here, a little bit there, give and take here. It can be in the middle.
When I try to interrupt you, it's not because I'm trying to keep you from saying what you're trying to say. The reason is you're responding to something completely off of what I'm, because now I'm gonna have to restate what I mean by when I was saying most, and the because all that ratchet stuff, all that stuff that you were talking about was nothing I ever said in regards to the generalizations I had about women or the generalizations I had about men. But you went on a whole explanation on how, you can't say most in these situations. Like, I never made those claims.
Well, because you would, in that case, you would say most women cheat, most women are baby mamas, most women are this.
I need an advocate. Those words came out of my mouth.
Dedrick, go ahead. But no, that's what you're saying. Most, when the majority, and I'm going to speak for my circle and my circle only. When I speak of it, the people, the women who ain't really about nothing or have multiple baby or whatever it may be, those are the minority. In my circle, wait, I'm not finished.
I know.
In my circle, the majority are hardworking women trying to do the right thing, taking care of their children, taking care of their household, being successful in their career. So again, when you say most women, to me, that doesn't count because it's not most women. It's the minority of women that we see on World Star Hip Hop or on the news or something like that. Those are the minority of women who are out there doing that. Most of the women out here are doing what they're supposed to do. And look, most of the men are out here doing what they're supposed to do. We only see the negative minorities. And when I say minorities, I'm not talking about black people. I'm talking about negativity. We see those because those are plastered and highlighted for likes and clicks and for media attention. The majority of people are not out here just doing bullshit. They're out here living their lives. So again, when you go to the most part, that is not accurate. I'm with Dedrick on this one. If you say some, that means it could be a little bit, it could be a little more than a lot. You don't know. Dedrick, he said he need an advocate. Apparently, I'm wrong, so I'm gonna shut up now.
Well, no, you pretty much explained what I was about to explain, because even if you change it to most, you say I would use most, you still would be wrong. Because I'll tell women this, because I've had these conversations with women, because they love to say, well, most men, blah 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 blah, and I simply ask them, so you've been with most men? How can you quantify most men? Do you know most men? No, you don't. You know some men, but you don't know most men. That's not possible for you to know. So you can say most of the men that I know, because that's going to give you a small portion of men that you know that exemplifies this particular behavior or whatever the case is. So you can modify it that way, but you cannot be accurate and say most men or most women do anything, because we don't know most men and what most men and what most women do. Now, as a man, we can speak on men's behalf about what we see in our circles and our journey in our lives, because we've been around men most of the time and we've been a male our whole lives. So we can speak on that particular side of things in a more accurate way. However, when we're talking about the opposite sex, we can't ever say most this or most that or all this. We can't. We can only say some and be accurate. I'm sorry, but you can't use most and try to explain away what women do, because I can't be accurate and say that. I will say some women are not freaking accountable to save their lives. And I'll be 100% correct every time. I can't say most women. I can say most women that I've seen online, or most women that I have encountered, or most women I've had experience with. I can say that because I've modified it, but I can't say with any sense of accuracy that most women do that, because I don't know most women. I know the amount of women that I know and have known throughout my life. That's not most women. That's a minority of women in the United States. I can't say most women because I don't know most women. So if that makes sense, that's the reason why I can't agree with even the word most, because most means the majority. We don't know the majority of women. We just know the majority of women that we've seen on social media, the majority of women we've dealt with in our lives. That's the only thing that we can say we know about. And we can say most women that I've seen, or most women that I've experienced with, most women that I've seen on social media, I can say that. But I have to qualify it. I have to modify it in such a way that it makes sense. I can only say that. But I can say some women do X, Y, and Z and always be 100% accurate.
That's like what? There's that one, excuse me, I'm choking on water. There's that one meme where it says, "Don't be talking about all men ain't shit." You say Leroy that live on 364 Pine Street ain't shit.
His name was
right?
Elroy. His name was Elroy, not Leroy.
Well, whatever. Well, you know what the hell I meant though.
All right,
So
listen.
that's what I mean. Like you can't just say all that, and I say that to women too. You know me, I hold everybody to the same standard, equal opportunity over here. Don't say all men ain't shit. No, the men that you pick ain't shit. Don't say
Exactly.
all women ain't shit
That part.
because guess what? Maybe all the women you pick ain't shit.
That part.
All right. In all the examples y'all gave, I fully agree with you. But those were zero of the examples, or any of the examples I gave, any of the stereotypes or generalizations I did.
No, we didn't say that you gave those generalizations, those particular stereotypes. We never said that.
But that's what I was referring to when I said if I was to use a modifier, I would use most. Right? And it was in regards to the basically the foundations of how men approach communication styles and how women. Remember, that was the whole thing I talked about. I didn't speak about half the stuff that you guys were talking about.
Okay.
Right. And I'm not basing it off of just my anecdotal information and talking to people, but it's also based off of like psychometrics and how women do on these psychometric tests and how men do on these psychometric tests. And I would say most. I'm talking about like a 60-40 split. So that means there's a good 40%, that 40% of men that probably tilt more towards a feminine style. And there's a 40% that tilts more towards a masculine side for women, masculine style for women, right? So, listen, I promise you I'm not on here trying to be misunderstood, but
I mean, you can.
I feel like I went on that tirade, and it was just like it was uncalled for. I didn't deserve that.
I mean, you can say what you want to say. This is a free country. You say what you want to say, but you would be inaccurate in certain situations to say most. You would be inaccurate, like you just said. Are most Haitians know voodoo? I'm not Haitian and I know voodoo. I'm Black and German. And I know voodoo. So there debunks that stereotype. So again, you using the word most, and that'd be like saying most Germans hate Jews. Most white people hate Black people. Like those are all stereotypes. So you can't use the word. So again, you could say some white people hate Black people. Some Germans hate Jews. Some, whatever. Some Asians don't eat rice. I don't know. But you can't say, well, most Asians eat rice. You might not know that. Most Asians might eat noodles. We don't know.
Literally, that one you can actually say most Asians eat rice. Rice is a huge, and there's numbers to back that up.
Right.
Okay, I eat rice all the time. Okay, but I'm Black. Okay, but again, I'm Black and German, and I eat rice all the time. So it's not attributed just to Asians. That's what I mean. That's the point that I was trying to make. So yes, most Asians might eat rice, but most Americans might eat rice too. I know everybody has a little bucket in their house, a little container, and it's packed with rice.
Okay, a true statement doesn't automatically falsify something else, right? Just because I say something is that doesn't mean nothing else is that. right?
Well, but again, getting back to the point, it's just not accurate to say most. That's my opinion. It's not accurate to say most. I would never say most black men are thugs and are out in the street robbing people. I'd never say most. Wait a minute. Hold on. I'd never say most Germans are Nazis. I'd never say any of that. I say some. Because guess what? Just like Dedrick said, that would make me accurate because some of them probably are. I don't know because I didn't meet all of them. I don't know every German. I don't know every black person. I don't know every black woman, white woman. I don't know everybody.
Okay, what if they say most of the people that are incarcerated come from single mother homes?
I would have to say consider the source.
Consider what?
The source. Because where is that information coming from?
But the thing is, this something like that is going to be in a contained system, right? We know where all the jails are. We know all the people that are in the jails, right? So, it's really hard to falsify that information. True.
I was going to say if it can be
Right.
I'm sorry.
Because that's something
I can't get the word out. Statistically,
okay.
proven.
So there's other things, there's other metrics and other means. So when you brought up, there's certain ones you can say that, and it's backed by studies or
Sure.
metric or so.
I can agree.
So when I was speaking about men and women, I was speaking in regards to communication styles, attachment styles, and their means of interacting with one another and with the opposite sex. That was the only area I was generalizing.
Well, no, you actually asked a very blanket statement and gave an example. You asked about stereotypes, and then when we asked what in what aspect, you gave the example of all Haitians knowing voodoo.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of where we went from there. So then it kind of went in all different directions. But if we circle back, then it pretty much became down to men and women. And I mean, we have to be honest. I'm going to be honest. I'll speak for myself, nobody else. I know that, a single mother and things like that is heavy on your brain a lot. So, where you would say like most single mothers or most women, and that was the point that I was trying to not necessarily debunk, but just make you understand that a lot of the situations that we see, they're actually the minority, and that you have a lot of women out here who are actually doing the damn thing and doing what they're supposed to do. So it is unfair to say most women, because when you say that, now granted, I'm not a sensitive person. So when I hear that, I'm like, I know he's not talking about me. But for others, it's not the same. No different for men. If I say most men ain't nothing but cheating dogs and they ain't this and they ain't that, you might be like confident enough to say, well, I know she's not talking about me, but another person may hear it and then it's like, oh, well, most men are dogs, or most women are this, or, so we just gotta, I feel we should be careful with our wording, not just for YouTube or not just for the show, but just in general overall, because especially with our younger people, because when you hear that all the time, then it kind of becomes the truth. So if you have a daughter or a son, and let's say I have a daughter, let's say I was a single mother, let's say I was most men ain't shit, and most men ain't this, and most men ain't that. My daughter is going to turn out to probably think that most men ain't shit, and she's going to walk past a good man because mama done put in her head all year, all her life, that most men ain't shit, and vice versa. It can go for men too. Well, all women is this, all women is that, all they want is money and all this other stuff. And then this young man meets a nice young girl, but because daddy done put in his head, or uncle or cousins, that most women ain't this, now he done walk past a really good woman. So again, that's what the only problem. I'm not discounting what you're saying that there aren't situations. I'm just saying that the word most is not the accurate word.
Well, when you were describing what guys were doing, you didn't. I never had any pushback on that because it went back to what I said. Since we're men, we can say most men or the majority of men because we're males. We know man behavior. You know what I'm saying? We know how men act. Even if we don't do it ourselves, we know the people behind man behavior. So we can say most or speak in a general terms when it comes to men because that's what we are. So, but I can't in any good consciousness say most women do X, Y, and Z because number one, I ain't a woman, and number two, I've never seen the majority of women. I haven't seen them. I know about the majority of women I've seen or dealt with, or you know what I'm saying, or seen online, but that doesn't encompass all the women. So when you was speaking about men, I had zero to say because what you were saying was absolutely true because you were talking about how men operate, and that's true. Is very true for the most part. Of course, you got your outliers and stuff like that, but what you were saying was true. That's why I couldn't say anything when you were saying that because that was true. But when a man or starts talking about women in any kind of sense of the word, we can't really say most of anything. So that was the only thing that I was getting at. And if I missed your point, then I apologize and stuff like that. But yeah, but when you were talking about men, you were spot on because that's just the truth of the matter. But you know, that's just me.
No worries. It's all good.
All right, so let me go and do the station identification so we can get out of here and whatnot. So first and foremost, I want to give a shout out to Meet the World Image Solutions, where literacy, excuse me, where you can get all of your literary services needs met. The founder, Dr. Rhonda M. Lawson, she's there for you, and she can direct you in the ways to get your book published and get your book edited and all that good stuff, so you can breathe life into your book that you got inside you and whatnot. Okay. And you can go and you can find her or contact her to see what she could do for you at www.mtw. That's for Meet the World. That's MTW Image Solutions.com. MTWImageSolutions.com. Check her out. Go get some merch. Go get some cups. Go get whatever, wrapping paper for Christmas. Go get it. And whatnot. She has a great merch store and whatnot. So you guys can go and take advantage of that. Also, with Mr. Crave's Cookies, where it's a party in your mouth, we got over 54 and counting different kinds of cookies and bars. And also, we're now in 30 states. It's no longer 29. We added one more, and it's gonna keep on flowing and stuff like that. So we got Delaware in the house, and whatnot. So, but yes, 30 different states. We got customers in and all that good stuff. If you guys want some amazing cookie treats and all that good stuff, go to IG right now, and check us out at MrCraves Cookies, Mr. Craves Cookies on Instagram, and also the Mr. Craves on TikTok. All right. Check us out and whatnot. All right. And also, we have on stage the Master Mix Master, all right, Mr. Music himself, Mr. Maurice. Go ahead and tell them where you can be found and your masterpieces can be found.
Yeah, come check out my songs and my tracks on Maxi Studio Music on YouTube. That's spelled MAX lowercase SI Studio Music. I've been on hiatus for a while, but I'll definitely be back with some brand new tracks. So keep listening, keep commenting, keep liking, and subscribe. And share. Yeah.
Yep, definitely share, y'all. And whatnot, because they have some really good music, y'all. So go ahead and don't be shy. Go ahead and get your music on, because I know y'all listen to music every day. So go ahead and don't be shy. Go on over there to Maxi Studios and stuff like that, man. All right. And also we got the the one, the only Mrs. Stills.
Y'all know I ain't got nothing. Oh, but I am gonna it's not up and running yet, but I figure probably by next year I'm gonna start selling chickens.
Oh, okay.
So I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people aren't into it, but I bought incubators, and I have different breeds that I'm getting that I have, and then I'm getting. So that's something that I'm actually working on, because I found out that that's a really good side hustle.
What about the ducks?
Hmm?
But the ducks.
How they gonna feel about that?
I had to get rid of. Well, I lost the three yellow ducks.
Oh,
See, you done wasted that good meat, man. Messing
Yeah,
around,
I
hugging the
lost
duck.
them.
You don't hug food, okay? You don't
I
kiss
lost
food.
them to predators.
See,
I'm sorry.
you done fed the wildlife. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I'm just mad insensitive. My bad.
She's
Yeah.
environmentally conscious. She had food for nature.
Yeah, I lost them to predators, and then I bought three more ducks, and I gave them away to a farm because I actually had to make a decision whether to keep the chickens or the ducks because of the HOA. But next year I'm building like an 8-foot fence, so my nosy Karen neighbors can't see me, and then I can do what I want. So
You want 3 acres and have an HOA?
yeah, I do.
That's freaking wild.
It is. So yeah, so keep your ears out for that one, and anybody that's in the area, that's something that I'm really looking forward to doing. I think that I'll enjoy that, because chickens are awesome. So I know that's like a really weird one, like nobody's probably ever heard that one before, but that's what I want to do.
I've heard of the selling of the eggs, but I ain't never heard of selling of the chicken.
Listen, it's a good side hustle. We go to, matter of fact, Saturday I'm going to a swap. They even have swap meets.
Yeah.
They do. They have swap meets.
If I had that fruit trees on my land.
They have swap meets. They have like goats, chickens, bunnies, pigs, and they have all different types of chickens. So I'm trying to breed them. And like what? Last time I bought 3 chickens, I spent $100 on 3 chickens. So it's definitely a good side hustle if you get it right. So maybe one day I'll be able to post up like y'all and sell my chickens, and I'll sell you some eggs. Chicken lettuce eggs are really good. We done already had some.
Oh my goodness!
You plan on butchering and processing yourself?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna get meat. There's a difference. It's a long thing. There's a difference. You usually have a flock that you just breed, and then you have a flock that's just meat chickens.
Yeah.
Your meat chickens, those are the ones that you don't name them. You just feed them and you process them. I'll have an area for a process.
Let's talk chickens off the air. Let's go ahead and close the show out.
Yeah, right.
And I got something for you when I introduce you, Jessica. When I say the phenomenal Miss Jessica, do your thing. What do you usually do?
Macaque.
And then, oh shit! I got you applause in there. I got you. Did you hear it? Did you hear it?
Yes, I heard
it. All right. So we're gonna close the show out tonight. Thank y'all for hanging in there. I was really only supposed to be on this jump for about an hour, but anyway. But yeah. Just to say what reiterate what we were talking about from the beginning, and stuff like that. We just want to make sure that just make sure we're being consistent on the things that we're standing on and stuff like that. And don't be one of these individuals who co-sign group think, because I'm gonna tell you right now, group think will get you in trouble. It will get you in trouble because a lot of the times the group is not always correct, and whatnot. And what we were talking about at the beginning, just because you think you're something doesn't make you that thing. And I'm not talking about having confidence in yourself and in your abilities. I ain't talking about nothing like that. I'm talking about literally if you're a male or a female thinking that you're the opposite sex and you want everybody else to buy into your delusion, don't look this direction. And this isn't hate talk because a lot of you love talking about, oh, you're transphobic, oh, you're homophobic. Phobic is a fear of. I'm not in fear of another human being just because they have a different lifestyle choice. First of all, that's stupid. First of all, just because somebody don't agree with you doesn't make me hate you. I love every human being who's worth loving. Just put it that way. But unless you give me a reason not to like you, and then I'm just not going to deal with you. I'm not going to waste my time hating you. So before you start that narrative, let me make sure I'm clear about that. Just because we have differences doesn't make me your enemy. It just means that I'm not going to agree with you on that particular situation or subject, and whatnot. So, um, but we've talked about it. We've covered a whole lot of stuff, but that was one of my main situations when we started, and whatnot. But just we have to make sure um, we are careful when it comes to those type of things. So, but I'm gonna shut mine down there. The other guys can, the other ones can go ahead and talk about their case and stuff like that. But so Maurice, you up?
Oh, I mean, I got much to say. We spoke about a lot of different things. I guess I think a lot of people need to go look up Roland Fryer
Uh-huh.
and check out how his study and
Uh-huh.
what happened with that situation with Obama. Very important. Um, and yeah, I mean that's it. All you pretty much said everything else.
Okay, okay. All right, Miss Phenomenal.
Phenomena.
Hey, you gotta get that one on there for me.
I know, right? I know, right?
Um, I'm with Maurice. You pretty much hit it on the head. Real quick, gender dysphoria is a real thing. It's a mental illness that is not to be rude or disrespectful.
Uh-huh.
Um, it just is what it is. Seek, seek treatment. Again, if I'm bipolar, I'm going to be bipolar all my life, and the only thing that I can do is I can go to therapy and I can take my medication or whatever it is, meditate. Whatever makes me deal with that mental illness better. So it's not a shame to have um, that mental illness. Just go about it the right way. Um, Black Lives Matter. We touched on that. Black Lives Matter. It only seems to matter when it is white on black crime, and we need to start focusing on Black Lives Mattering when it's black on black crime too. Because unfortunately, we do that more than the white on black crime, at least now. Maybe
Mhm.
not back in the days. So when Pookie and Ray Ray go at it, you know, those lives should matter too. Um, but the only time that there's any airtime or anything like that or anything happens, it's when it's a white person against a black person. So we need to start focusing on our communities and making sure that we're raising our children better and that those people that are committing these crimes are actually being held accountable. And unfortunately, in a lot of these cities, um, they're not being held accountable. They're pretty much caught and do minimal time, and they get right back on the streets to do the same thing. And our elders and our communities deserve better. Stereotypes, be the change that you want to see. So can we stop being like, you know, and I'm talking about this part. I'm gonna talk about black people because I'm black. No matter how light skinned I am, I'm black. Um, let's be the change that we want to see, and let's hold people accountable and hold the mirror up to them because unfortunately stereotypes are real. So when you go out and you act a fool over They put pickles on your burgers when you didn't ask for them, or you're stealing wigs from the beauty supply store, or you're sticking up people and carjacking them. When they see us as average American Black citizens, they assume the same of us, because we look the same, you know. So we need to cut that out too. And that's pretty much what I got. The breakdown of all the topics.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And we're gonna see you guys next week, 8:30. 8:30. And whatnot. So thank you guys so much. This is Soul Flow Conversations. I am your host, Dedrick the Cookie Man, alongside the phenomenal Mrs. Fields. And thank you for coming on stage, Mr. Maurice. Thank you for blessing us with your presence. And from your ears to from my mouth to your ears, good night, and thank you guys so much.